welcome in, and this game is brought to you by Abstract Technology Group, doing IT differently, making it simple. Day and Ginda Funeral Home, putting family first. And Fiberhawk, fast, affordable Fiberhawk. Healthy communities of Clinton County, making the healthy choice the easy choice. The Frankfurt Eagles Post 976, people helping people. The Willow Creek Barn, providing a picturesque setting for the barn wedding of your dreams. I want to welcome everyone into the pregame show here at Frankfurt High School football field, brought to you by Day and Ginda Funeral Home, putting family first. My name is Jared Thomas, alongside my broadcast partner, Bob Maslam. We have a matchup between two teams now in the newly formed conference, the Monon Conference, that is. Excited to get to all of the action, but want to welcome all you in. And, Bob, what are you looking forward to in tonight's game between these two teams? Well,
it's an interesting matchup. Right now both teams are on a little bit of a losing streak, but Frankfurt, are they going to be able to put some points on the board, which is a big question, and can North Putnam continue to score at the level that they've been scoring at? And then obviously from what we've learned in our research is there's some injuries going on, so it's going to be the next man up for some of these kids, and sometimes when the lights come on Friday night, it's a little different than Thursday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon on your practice field. So, it's a great opportunity for some of the youngsters to put forth the effort all week to be able to show themselves on Friday night. And so hopefully have a good ball game.
And you already pointed to it, some of the injuries that both teams are facing, but we're going to show you the first look, which is brought to you by the Willow Creek Barn, where nature's beauty meets rustic elegance. And this is just a quick look into both teams, aside from the losing streak for both teams, the last two for North Putnam, and obviously the season for Frankfurt. What are you looking for each team if they expect to get in that win column? What do they have to do tonight?
Well, I think Frankfurt has to sustain drives. They've had some difficulty scoring this year. And so can they be able to convert yard and downage and get first downs and move the ball down the field? And can they get a break? Can they get a turnover here and there? On the flip side with North Putnam, obviously they've been able to put some points on the board. Can they continue to be as strong as they've been? We have a 4A team in Frankfurt and a 2A team in North Putnam, but their records don't indicate the difference in the two classes. And to your earlier point, yes, this is a new conference. They both used to be in the Sagamore Conference, and now they're in this new conference. And one is 0-4 in the conference, and one is 1-3 in the conference. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But we have a wonderful night for high school football, and if they want to throw the ball, the conditions are dry. If they want to run the ball, the field looks like it's in good shape. But can the team sustain and do better than what they've done in the previous couple weeks?
All I'm really hearing is both teams have to have a singleness of purpose mentally going into the back part of this season. Now for some players to watch, which is brought to you by the ISC Sports Network. Local lives here. Two players that are going to be key for both teams. Tell me a little bit about them.
Well, Christian Kramer is having a wonderful season. He's already thrown for a lot of yards, 12, I believe it's, 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's averaging almost 196 yards a game, which in high school, at the college level, that's big time. And so North Putnam is putting up 476 yards per game. Yeah, on the flip side, you have James, I believe it's Lonzo, that for Frankfurt, and this young man plays both ways. So he's a running back and he's a linebacker, and he has been a big part of the team that they've had this year. And so we'll look for him to probably try to plug some holes on defense and hopefully break off a few yards on offense.
For those who don't know, Christian Kramer is actually going to go on and play his college football at Butler University. An amazing feat for that quarterback that's turned himself into a dual threat. And then James Lozano, as you said, he's going to be featured on both sides of the football. So you talked about individual players for both teams. Now we get you the keys to victory. Tier 1 Meat Co., where every cut is elite and every customer is family. What do these two teams need to do in this game tonight to secure the victory?
Well, as I alluded to earlier, you got to convert the drives to points. Sometimes you get lucky on a turnover and you have a short field. More often than not, you're having to go 60, 70 yards. How does the special teams put them in positions to convert those drives to points? Secondarily, do we have any big plays, big points? We know North Putnam has had a tendency to put some big plays together, which they have converted to big points. And as we talked about in the initial part of the broadcast, is that both teams are dealing with some injuries. And as I said, that's the next man up. That's easier for us to say sitting up here in the booth, but now you have maybe a sophomore or junior that hasn't played much being thrust into competition, being expected to make a key tackle, a key reception, a key first down. But you know what? Good for these kids. Everybody has their moment, and hopefully some youngster has his first new moment tonight. You remember your first new moment, don't you? Huh?
Yes, I do.
I remember mine was against Lawrence Central in 1968. Or 60s, yeah. But you know what? Those are the times that you think about it as a youngster when you're playing in the backyard and you're running pass routes to the tree and to the, street light sign. But every Friday night, somebody has an opportunity to go out and do something that they'll remember the rest of their life.
That's exactly right, and we have a wonderful opportunity, the two of us, to really bring the action to everyone's TV screen tonight, and we'll just take a quick break. We'll be right back with more action here on Homecoming Night for Frankfort, brought to you by the ISC Sports Network.
Healthy Communities of Clinton County is committed to reduce the risk factors contributing to chronic disease, including health disparities by decreasing stigma and encouraging positive changes. HCCC is here for the community with systems of care navigators, insurance assistance, prenatal classes, mental health programs, substance use prevention, and more. To help make the healthy choice the easy choice, contact us at 659-6063 or through our website, healthyclintoncounty.org.
In this town, game day starts long before kickoff. It's the work behind the scenes that makes champions. At Tier 1 Meat Company, we prep with the same focus, discipline, and pride as the hometown heroes we feed. From our block to your block, fuel every victory. Tier 1 Meat Company. Mission, feed the fans. Standard, champion quality. Scan the QR code for a game day upgrade.
Day and Ginda Funeral Home, proudly putting family first, strives to care and honor the families of Clinton and Carroll County in ways that share the loved one's story. In our effort to serve your family at the highest of quality, we have added our own crematories, one for your loved one and another crematory for your furry family members. Contact us for information on how we can serve your family. Day and Ginda Funeral Home, putting family first.
At Wampler's Disposal and Recycling, we take pride in offering waste management for commercial and residential clients. As an industry leader, Wampler's Disposal and Recycling brings the most professional and responsive collection service in the business. Since 1948, our family-owned and operated company has provided excellent service at competitive rates. We offer container rentals as well. Our longevity in the industry is a testament to our excellent service. We serve all of Clinton, Tippecanoe, Boone, Howard, and Carroll counties. For all your waste removal needs, call Wampler Services Incorporated today. You can reach us at 765-659-3721. Visit us online at wamplerservicesinc.com.
And we're back here in Frankfort, Indiana, just before the home team trots out on the field for their homecoming. Bob, this is a big game for both teams. Obviously, you're in this environment. You're playing on homecoming. So many eyes on you. Take us into the mindset that the players have to have aside from going out and executing against North Putnam.
Well, homecoming week, at least from what I remember a long time ago, there's a lot of distractions. You probably got a dance tonight or tomorrow night. You got the homecoming court. You're trying to practice all week. You're doing film. So, yeah, you have a few distractions. But, these young men, they've been trained their entire life to focus on what the job is at hand. And I imagine they'll go out and play football.
That's exactly right. And this is brought to you truly by Bob Maslam, the longtime basketball coach down in Indianapolis. Really appreciate you being here tonight, Bob. As we get ready for the coin toss, tonight's officials brought to you by Wampler's Disposal Service and Recycling, where recycling makes sense. We have Alexander Marr, Bill Wells, Hunter Edwards, Jeffrey Marr, and Stephen Van Fossen. Coach, I understand the life that you live as a head coach and trying to get everyone on the same page. When it comes to the officials, what was your relationship like with those guys and gals when you were getting your teams ready to play?
Well, I can tell you this. As a broadcaster, my relationship was a lot better with them now. Seriously, they do a great job. You don't always agree with them, and I'll bump into them now, and we'll chat about different situations that happened, and you always seeing it one way, and now after a game I'll tell them, guys, you didn't miss a call all night, and they go, where was that? For the last 10 years. But you know what? They give up their time. They do it for the love of the game. A lot of them do both football and basketball, so you see them in both seasons. A lot of them have a lot of tenure, and right now there's still a shortage of officials. People are trying to get new folks to come in, former players such as yourself, former trainers, somebody that knows a little bit about the game. But yourself, it's a thankless job. Is it a block? Is it a charge? Is it holding? Is it face mask? Is it pass interference, offense, defense? And those are the types of calls that they have to make in a split second, and they don't have the benefit of review. And at the high school level, you don't get the review at all. You can't challenge. But then you're in the film room on, Sunday night or Monday, and you're going, oh, my gosh. But you know what? It all evens out in the wash. So if you play enough games, I think you'll get the right amount of calls for you and the right amount of calls that not go in your favor.
That's exactly right. And as you just saw from our official crew, Frankfort won the toss, decided to defer to the second half. So they will be kicking off to North Putnam to get this game started. And before we get to kickoff, I just want to bring you our starting lineups brought to you by Ardente Dental. Healthy smiles start here. Now, Coach, this is something that is a bit of a curveball for us, as we know North Putnam has a couple of guys out that we just found out just before we got back from commercial break. But talk to us about some of the key players outside of the ones you already touched on for both squads as we look into these starting lineups.
Well, we just learned that quarterback number 3, Christian Kramer, is not playing. Nor is number 4, Griffin Starr. And Christian obviously is their leading quarterback, who's had a magnificent year, and Starr is a good rusher as well as one of their top receivers. But some of the other key players on North Putnam is running back number 2, Wes Murphy, who's had a good season so far, and their wide receiver number 6, Chase Barber, has played really well. You want to go the defensive side, they have a couple of people playing both ways. Wes Murphy leads the team in tackles, and you also keep your eye out on Caden Hankins and Owen Thurman. For Frankfort, they've had a little bit of a merry-go-round at quarterback. It looks like tonight Thomas Matrix will start, but look for Kiefer Dooley to be in there for a little bit. And running back Dennis Barkley is really good. He plays both ways, and he's a running back and a cornerback. And then on the other side, Jackson Roby leads the team in tackles from the strong safety spot, which lets you know that the line play has not been up to par if you have a strong safety that leads your team in tackles. But also their best tackler, Alex Trejo, is out, still injured.
Once again, that injury bug getting the best of both teams. Quarterback stepping in for the Cougars of North Putnam is going to be Owen Thurman, kind of the utility player that does it all at the running back and at the receiver position. Got his first started quarterback last week, 22 of 41, 174 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and a loss against Southmont. Once again, just welcome you all into tonight's matchup on homecoming night for the Frankfort Hot Dogs. We got Frankfort and Logan Light kicking off to the North Putnam Cougars, and that is Wes Murphy back deep, ready to take the opening kickoff. We got the fielded kickoff return there. That's a guy that you already mentioned, Chase Barber, getting the party started early as one of the first line guys going up to block, fielding that opening kickoff, getting ready for the first opening possession for North Putnam. Well,
we talked about it, converting drives to points, and already North Putnam is starting on the 40-yard line, so they only have to go 3/5 of the field as opposed to 70, 80 yards.
North Putnam's offense, as I've already mentioned, looks a little bit different with Owen Thurman at the controls tonight. Let's see if they can have a better performance in this opening kickoff. And as you see, already getting it to Wes Murphy, the guy that can just do it all. Gets a nice toss sweep out to the right, gets all the way down inside the 20-yard line to get things going for the Cougars.
Well, that was a very nice misdirection play. You have all your energy and your enthusiasm ready to go, and you had your first defensive line call, and everybody's moving in one direction, the ball moves another, and now we got North Putnam up on the line in a little bit of a hurry up.
Here we go. Once again, Owen Thurman back there gives the illusion that he's giving off the handoff, but then he gets into the teeth of the defense and crosses the goal line for the touchdown. First score didn't take long, only 2 plays before North Putnam gets into the end zone.
Well, we got, 22 seconds off the clock?
Didn't take long.
No, so those 60 yards went pretty quick.
North Putnam wasting no time. Owen Thurman getting himself acquainted super quickly. The first one is just a toss sweep to Wes Murphy, who goes down inside the 20-yard line, and then Owen Thurman does it himself, gets across the end zone for the first score of the game. Here we are with Braden Chu. Got a flag on the play.
Looks like somebody on the line moved.
Just going to move that. Looks like that North Putnam is actually elected to no longer kick the extra point, but go for 2 with that field position shifting just up a yard and a half. When you're in this position on the field, Coach, what are you looking for? You already got the plus with the advantage on the penalty. What are you looking for North Putnam to do on this 2-point conversion attempt?
I would imagine we're going to do another little misdirection.
Owen Thurman takes a snap, gives it off to Wes Murphy. And the conversion is no good. Frankfurt's defense does a nice job stalking up the middle and doesn't allow them in for the 2-point conversion.
That was a really, really good defensive stand by the Frankfurt line to hold them without the 2-point conversion. But they ran up the middle, and they had a lot of big linemen up there ready up to the task. And it's interesting. They took the point off the board, went for 2, and now they're 6-0.
We've already talked about didn't take long, and we're not going to be long, just going to take the first break of the game after that first score. Right now, North Putnam up 6-0 here in Frankfurt. Welcome back into Frankfurt High School football field, where the score is already 6-0 advantage North Putnam. Frankfurt getting ready to take their first opening kickoff. Let's see if they can respond on the offensive end. Haven't done a great job offensively this year, but this could be the turning point for the entire team. And as you see, opening kickoff for North Putnam actually sails out of bounds, going to give Frankfurt a bit of an advantage as they come out on offense for the first time.
Yeah, they're going to get almost as short a field as North Putnam just had. I believe they bring the ball out to the 35-yard line. So, once again, very good field position. And let's see if they can move the chains, convert some first downs, and pick up some yardage against North Putnam.
Tough task for Lyric Barnes, the freshman kicker, wide receiver, and DB, assuming some of that responsibility on special teams. Sure, that's going to be a learning experience for him. Here we have it. That's Kiefer Dooley taking the opening snap at quarterback, somebody that we were told was going to be back in the lineup for the first time after being down for a little bit. What do you expect to see from him tonight?
Well, it's good that he's finally back in the mix. He's healthy. They said he's a little bit more of their spread quarterback, but that was not a spread formation. So I think we'll see more than one quarterback tonight for Frankfurt.
This is an offense, then Coach Justin Kinsey brought in his own formula with the triple option and wishbone type of feel into Frankfurt, and that's Beckett Brager coming in for the tackle, really close to that line of scrimmage, doing a nice job for North Putnam's defense.
So this is big for Frankfurt. Can they get a first down? You know, North Putnam took about 22 seconds to score, and now let's see if Frankfurt can convert and keep the ball and go down and score themselves.
Once again, that North Putnam defense standing strong. That's defensive lineman Sam Osborne getting in on that dive handoff from Frankfurt, getting the third down stop, forcing a fourth down right now for the Frankfurt offense.
Now it looks like they're going for it. But, on a not so good note, Frankfurt only averages about 100 total yards per game. And so this will be hard for them, especially with the line. I'm guessing they're going to have to go outside or misdirection, but they will not be able to go up the middle.
And we see Dooley take the snap again, tries to get across the line to gain, but it looks like he was called just short, and that's a stop for North Putnam in their first defensive try of the game. Nice job by the Cougars getting the stop, getting their offense back on the field.
Yeah, that's tough sledding up with the line of North Putnam. And as you can look at on the field, folks, you can see the size differential up front for both the offensive, defensive lines of both teams.
Would like to welcome you into Frankfurt High School football field, where so far the advantage is to North Putnam, up 6-0. Only took them 2 plays, and they're already back on offense. Got the 3 receivers side out to the left, but instead go into the hands of Wes Murphy up the middle for another positive game for the Cougars.
So Wes Murphy is averaging about 8 yards per carry and over 104 yards per game. So he's the second leading rusher behind Christian Kramer, who's not playing tonight. So I imagine he'll get the bulk of the carries tonight.
I would imagine it hurts when the leading rusher for your entire team is not even in uniform tonight. 832 rushing yards for Christian Kramer, 16 touchdowns. What does that mean for the other guys in white when it comes to carrying the rock in the run game tonight for the Cougars?
Well, they're missing 2 key starters, one of their leading receivers and their quarterback. So that makes it tough. Somebody has to step up. That's the kind of pre-snap penalties no team can really afford to have, but especially in Frankfurt's situation, you got to be a little more disciplined there. And now it's an automatic first down, and North Putnam continues their drive.
That's someone we talked about at the start of the broadcast. James Lozano does both things on both sides of the ball. Running back and linebacker got caught off sides with that snap count from sophomore quarterback Owen Thurman. On this next play, hands it off to Wes Murphy again. Seems to be a good formula for the Cougars. 5 yards on that first down play for Wes Murphy and the Cougars.
Well, on these last few off-tackle plays, Frankfurt has done a nice job of running to the ball, and they've gang tackled. You see there in the replay, they got 5 or 6 guys around the ball carrier taking him to the ground.
It's not the same as the 42-yard game we saw on the first play from scrimmage, but this Cougar offense flying on all cylinders right now, getting whatever they want, and they've done a lot of it on the ground so far, haven't even really gone to the air. What are you seeing from this offense thus far?
Well, sometimes when the second-string quarterback is in, you lean on the ground game.
That's Owen Thurman in the backfield once again. 2 receivers out to the right. Single side receiver to his left so far has leaned on the run game frivolously and doing a nice job getting his team down the field. Takes the snap again. Going outside, as you said, once again. Perimeter run, first down, something that you pointed out on that first drive. What did you like there?
Well, they ran away from the defensive line, and that has been a strength of Frankfurt's this year. They're not quite as strong on the edge, and he was able to turn the corner and get the first down.
Seeing just about every formation. Here we go with the motion, sending Wes Murphy across the formation, gets it to him on the jet sweep, but we have flags down on this one.
Well, Jared, when you run wide, there's a tendency to have your folks either block in the back or hold, and that play took a little longer to develop, and I'm going to guess it's going to be holding on North Putnam. Just a guess.
But I trust your coaching expertise. More times than not, you see a lot more than the regular eye can potentially see. And it seems like we have offsetting penalties, a block in the back by North Putnam and a hold by Frankfurt's defense. So I believe actually maybe 2 penalties on North Putnam, and that explains.
So 2-1 wins? Is that the way it works?
That is exactly how that works. I think a block in the back and a holding on North Putnam is what was called. didn't quite get the official call there on the field. Nonetheless, Frankfort doing a nice job continuing to rally thus far in the game, even though North Putnam has gotten down into the scoring area.
Be interesting to see if North Putnam elects to throw the ball here. They've not thrown a pass yet.
This is a quarterback in Owen Thurman who threw the ball 41 times just a week ago, but so far electing to hand it off to Wes Murphy per his coach's instructions.
Yeah, they're content to run the ball up the middle, occasionally off tackle.
Noticed a bit of an up-tempo feel to this Cougar offense, trying to stun everyone here in attendance for homecoming. And it looked like that ball came out just at the last second. That defense doing a nice job flying to the perimeter, once again getting out there to Wes Murphy and laying a big hit on him. But North Putnam fortunate to jump on that one.
Yeah, very, very good coverage by Frankfort.
And that was Josh Taylor laying the boom for Frankfort on the perimeter against Wes Murphy. It's an opportunity that you feel like if you're Frankfort and Coach Kinsey, you have to jump on those when they present themselves, because turnovers, they really turn the complexity of the game, and always have to be aware when they present themselves. Here we are, Thurman going out to his left, but couldn't quite find his receiver, Kyler Hankins, out to the right with a bit of a misdirection play.
You know what? He had that all set up. He had blockers. He had a lot of green grass, and the young man just rushed his throw, didn't set his feet. It was a screen, and, you know, it takes a little bit of time to develop. I think he got a little antsy, maybe not quite as experienced quarterback as we've seen in the past few games for North Putnam, but they had it all set up.
Tonight's game is brought to you by the Frankfort Eagles Post 976, serving our community since 1905. With over 900 members locally, the Frankfort Eagles offers something for everyone. For more information on who they are and what they do, please visit FOE.com or stop by 408 North Main Street in Frankfort. There you saw Owen Thurman trying to go for the touchdown, didn't get it. Stop goes to Frankfort. How does that make the Hot Dogs feel as they get their offense back on the field?
Well, you know what? They caused a fumble. Unfortunately for them, they did not recover it, but they were able to hold North Putnam to, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 yards on that drive. Turned it over on downs, and now they got the ball back. And so we'll see if Frankfort can convert now.
It's the old omen of defenses bending but not breaking. Frankfort having that on full display on that first defensive possession for the second defensive possession for them. There you saw Jaden Davis, a receiver that's been featured of two receivers this year, getting receptions, that time getting a jet sweep, but the North Putnam defense sniffed that one out the entire time.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to continue to test the edge with either sweeps, some misdirection, maybe a reverse here and there, but I don't see them having much success running up the middle of the North Putnam defense, especially with the strength of the linebackers and defensive line.
You see Kiefer Dooley going back, dropping back, trying to find his receiver down the field, trying to link up with.
And so we talk about the officials, and I think they might have missed a hold there. But, you have the Frankfort coaches throwing their hanky in the air, but theirs doesn't count, I can tell you that.
That was Xavier Taylor looking at the officials after his quarterback tried to connect with him down the field, looking for the potential hold call, as you just mentioned. And as quickly as they got the stop, Frankfort did. Here they are trying to convert on third down themselves. We have Kiefer Dooley once again taking the under center snap, handing it off to running back Danny Jaycox, but we have a flag on the play. So momentum on this one is going to be halted for just a second with some more laundry touching the field here at Frankfort.
I think we have a chop block.
When you play this triple option offense, wishbone type of thing, and you're getting up to linebackers so quickly, sometimes you do have a propensity as an offensive lineman to block below the belt, and the officials caught Frankfort on that one, except the only thing there, North Putnam has declined that penalty, forcing a punt from Frankfort.
Yeah, unfortunately for Frankfort, they caused North Putnam to turn over, and they couldn't generate enough yards to move the sticks, and now they're punting. And not much of a win, but he's punting into a little bit of a win. This is going to give North Putnam some really good field position, probably on like maybe the 35 or so.
And that's Deron Barkley, 17 punts on the year, just under 400 yards. And he hits a wobbler going out of bounds as Owen Thurman, the quarterback for North Putnam, was back ready to receive it, but it doesn't cross the 40-yard line. Officials have it spotted at the 36, positive field position for North Putnam.
I guess the 35, not bad, not bad. Sometimes you get lucky.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Day and Ginda Funeral Home, with locations in Frankfort, Flora, Mulberry, and Rossville. The compassionate and experienced staff at Day and Ginda Funeral Home are dedicated to providing a loving and genuine environment for you to honor your loved ones. For more information on our services and community involvement, please visit dayandginda.com. Day and Ginda Funeral Homes, where we put family first. So far, Owen Thurman has done a nice job putting Wes Murphy first, and that time takes matters into his own hands, fakes the handoff, and gets the first down for the Cougars.
As uncomfortable as North Putnam has been in their 2 or 3 pass attempts, I would see them continue to run the ball. Both kids in the backfield are very good ball carriers.
It's quite simple. If it's not broken, don't need to fix it. And once again, that's Wes Murphy, the second leading rusher on this team, just over 500 yards. Gets a positive gain of almost 15 yards. It looks like 14 to be exact. Another first down in 2 consecutive plays for North Putnam.
Yeah, and they're getting through the hole without being touched, and that's easy to gain yardage when you're a back.
Owen Thurman takes the snap once again, gives it to Wes Murphy, and Wes Murphy does his dance around the entire Frankfort defense and gets into the end zone for score number 2.
Yeah, the game at the line of scrimmage is being dominated by North Putnam on both sides of the ball, and you can see the results as that young man ran into the end zone, and they had the ball, maybe 4 or 5 plays, and went 35 yards. But you know what? When you only have to go 35 yards to score a touchdown, that's a lot easier than the 60-70 that Frankfort was facing earlier.
That's a drive that started, as Coach Bob was just saying, on the 36-yard line. Only took them 3 plays to get down to pay dirt, and here they are going for the 2-point conversion once again in a play that has worked for them consistently on this drive alone. Works again for the 2-point conversion. North Putnam up 14-0 early in this first quarter. Just like we saw on that first drive of the game for the Cougars. Handoff to the right, handoff to the left, and next thing you know, they're in the end zone. What's working for North Putnam on offense right now?
Well, it's interesting. You just brought it up, is that their first drive, they ran the ball 100% of the time. Their third drive, they ran the ball 100% of the time. And the second drive, they sprinkled in 3 or 4 passes. I don't believe any were completed. So, hence, you see the comfort level and the familiarity with moving the ball on the ground for North Putnam, especially with this. I guess I'm going to call him a backup quarterback, but he's starting tonight, so he's the starting quarterback. But they're dominating the line of scrimmage, and you know yourself as a player that when a back sees a little bit of daylight at a hole and he's not touched till he's 5 or 6 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, that makes for easy sledding.
That's called you're cooking with fish grease right now, and that's the offensive line for North Putnam. This is an offense, once again, if you're just joining us, without their star quarterback, Christian Kramer, just under 1,000 yards passing, only played in 5 games, 832 rushing yards, and 16 touchdowns, 3 100-yard games. He's not involved tonight, but they, as a collective, have been involved so far. That explains the 14-point lead thus far. And that's Deron Barkley back taking the kickoff for the Hot Dogs. It just gets underneath the 20-yard line. Looks like he lost his footing just a bit as he tried to make some defenders miss.
Well, there's about 7 defenders that he had to make miss. And they all got through the first line of defense for Frankfort. And so when you look up and you see all white coming at you, you tend to lose your footing a little quicker.
The next offensive possession for the Hot Dogs. Once again, Coach Justin Kinsey brings in the triple option prowess offensively, the wishbone type of offense. And so far, not much luck as it's been this entire season. What do they need to do on this next drive to just get that first down and get these things rolling offensively?
Well, they have to get a little bit of rhythm. They've not been able to establish any rhythm yet. And here you have your first play coming off a kickoff, and you're taking a timeout to make sure everything's organized. And so fortunately the quarterback realized that things weren't in the right order, and so he looked at the coach and we called the timeout. But the first play of a drive is key. It kind of sets the tone, and let's see if Frankfort can get some momentum, get a good play, maybe 6-7 yards, and they're looking at 2nd and 3 or 4 as opposed to 2nd and 8 or 9, which they've been up against the sticks all night thus far.
That's first-time head coach Justin Kinsey for Frankfort High School. The last 3 seasons he was spent up in Niles, Michigan as the head coach at Brandywine High School. Has had some success here in the state of Indiana. Back to his days as defensive coordinator at Mishawaka Marion from 2015 to 2018, where they won 4 straight sectional titles and 2 regionals in that span. Someone that has talked about it's going to take a bit of a process and some patience from everyone in this Frankfort community for them to get this thing going in the right direction. Healthy Communities of Clinton County Coalition understands the important role healthcare coverage plays, pun intended, for athletes and their families. We partner with CKF to provide free expert assistance to enroll, use, and maintain affordable coverage. Our certified navigators are available to set, pun intended, for uninsured Hoosiers as a trusted teammate, pun intended. Call 1-888-975-4CKF and tell us the county where you live or work. And that's Kiefer Dooley handing it off to Jaden Davis, who makes a defender miss, and he has taken things into his own hands, and he has called a house call. The only person close to him is the official signaling touchdown. The second of the season comes in an emphatic way. What a touchdown drive and play for Mr. Jaden Davis.
What an unbelievable play by that young man. He was going wide and decided to cut back, and he cut back twice. And then he outran the entire North Putnam team and got to pay dirt. So we talked about getting momentum on first down. We didn't talk about going 70 yards.
4 catches, 23 yards as a receiver this year for Jaden Davis. That time he takes one to the house, and here they are going for 2. But North Putnam having none of that as we call Sam Osborne's name again, getting in for the TFL. Well, when you only score 2 touchdowns for the entire season, and the second one was what we just witnessed, you can imagine how everyone is fired up here tonight at Frankfort High School Field.
Yeah, that was that got the crowd excited. You heard a roar, and as you said, they'd only had 1 touchdown up to that point, but that young man was electrifying on that run. So I think it really surprised North Putnam that he broke the first line of defense. And he cut back to the left, and he cut back to the right, and then he outran everybody. But good for that young man.
Shows you how impressive he is when he gets the ball out in space, something that everyone in this community has been needing, has been wanting, sort of a bit of shock for those in the stands as you can hear the cheers coming here on homecoming night. Jaden Davis has inserted some life into the Hot Dogs tonight with their first touchdown of the night for Frankfort.
Now that carry, what was it, maybe 75 yards, close to that? That's almost double his yardage for the entire season. So that was wonderful for Frankfort to get some points on the board, get a little momentum, and obviously they're still down 14-6, but let's see if they can get a defensive stand and see what North Putnam has to get back. North Putnam has been putting up a lot of points this year. I mean, they're averaging 36 points a game, and they're almost a third of the way there, halfway there almost.
That's North Putnam's Jackson Andrews jumping on the squib kick from Frankfort. Coach Kinsey talked that it was going to be a process. You read everything getting prepared for this game. He understood what he was getting himself into, and when you're a visionary, you just have to get everyone on board long enough, but you need some plays along the way that those in attendance as fans and those as players that play in the game can point to and say, hey, that's what he has been envisioning this entire time, a feel-good moment for everyone in attendance, the Frankfort Hot Dogs especially. But North Putnam here back on the offense, and they go back to that jet sweep once again, underneath pitch to Wes Murphy, and he gets down for the gain of 16 yards on the first down play.
That's the exact same play they ran the first play of the game, and they picked up about the identical amount of yardage.
They're going fast. They whip it out to the perimeter, and the receiver loses his footing. That's Noah McConnell looking to make the defense miss, but he left his sack lunch on the ground, and they mark him down for just a 2-yard gain.
I would see North Putnam going back to the run game.
Owen Thurman gets it out to McConnell once again, gets a block from his fellow teammate Brady McLeod, gets it out to the edge, and is able to get down for the first down, and then just not a smart play from Frankfort, grabbing the back of the shoulder pads and slinging them down for the personal foul, which is coming with this flag. And we also have a Frankfort hot dog down on the field. That is, I believe, Xavier Taylor down on the field, who looks to be in some serious pain. So a lot going on right now for Frankfort. They pick up the unnecessary roughness call on the sideline. That penalty official confirmation coming. And then Xavier Taylor down on the field in agony and some pain, taking the breath sort of out of the stadium right now as they wait to see the status of Taylor, who's down on the 40-yard line.
Yeah, the young man that made that tackle out of bounds gave it could have been a horse collar, it could have been a late hit, it could have been a tackle out of bounds, and fortunately for him, they only penalized it for one of them, but that was a little unnecessary roughness. And I imagine the that youngster, it's his first time on Friday night, because I don't even see him on the program.
You immediately saw the coaching staff from Frankfort getting on that young man's helmet, trying to encourage him to better see the football game. You just got a big play via points and a touchdown. You give up a big run, but don't make a bad play worse by picking up that extra 15 yards through a penalty.
And it looks like for Frankfort, Xavier Taylor is the young man that was helped off the field. Hopefully they can get him back in.
Owen Thurman takes the shotgun snap, but the Frankfort defense doing a nice job. James Lozano, that key player we talked about at the start of the broadcast, gets in for the tackle for loss.
Well, you notice the last couple drives, Frankfort has been a little more physical. Even though that youngster had that penalty there, that was a physical play.
So a bit of a back and forth right now between both clubs, North Putnam and Frankfort, as we see North Putnam driving again. That's Owen Thurman trying to find his receiver in the flat, Caden Hankins, but was not able to connect. But hold on just a second, another penalty flag down on the play.
You know what? He had receivers at all three levels, in the flat, intermediate, and then he had a receiver wide open in the end zone. His feet are just a little quick, a little antsy. He's not setting. He's throwing the ball on the run, and he needs to settle down and be able to plant and throw the ball, because he's got some receivers that are wide open.
And sort of like we saw with one of their first couple of offensive possessions, North Putnam trending backwards with the holding call, -10 on this 2nd and long. Thurman going out to his left again, but dumps it back off to his right, picks up a key block on the perimeter, and Wes Murphy goes in for another touchdown for North Putnam. So everything they've done tonight has been quick and in a hurry, and that's another touchdown for North Putnam.
Look, well, I don't know, we didn't see it, but it's the same screen play they called 2 drives ago, where he hurried the throw. This time he took his time, set his feet, lobbed it over, and he had the blockers in front of him last time, and same blockers were there this time, and they went with that drive take 3-4. They overcame a holding penalty.
Right after the holding penalty, they get the touchdown. That's like the game of golf. When you bomb the first hole and then you come back with the birdie on the second one, it makes everything feel that much better. And the Cougars offense doing a nice job. A right hash call, taking advantage of the left side of the field, the wide side, and then getting it back into the boundary. And that's Braden Chu with the extra point. So we had Frankfort go for the touchdown. Jaden Davis does a nice job, and then North Putnam responds with a touchdown of their own.
Yeah, and both teams have done a nice job of recovering from the other team's body punch, if you will. But North Putnam was able there in 3 or 4 plays to put some points back on the board, create a little bit more of a advantage. Now they're up 21-6 and kick off, and we'll see if Frankfort can maintain some of the momentum they had from the last drive. And to your earlier point, you talked about Coach Kinsey saying this is going to be a process. You need plays like they just had to give the kids, the fans, the students some encouragement that good things are on the way, that they might not be as far away as you think. So that last run by that young man really, really, I think, helped the psyche of the Frankfort fans and football team. And you know yourself, the fans, you want them hollering for you and getting behind you, and they need something to be encouraged as well, especially on homecoming.
And part of that process is weathering the storm in real live time. What does Frankfort need to do to not just eliminate the points by North Putnam, but eliminate them happening so quickly as we saw many plays and drives, only 5 plays or less it's taking North Putnam to go score?
Well, what North Putnam's doing is they're taking advantage of the pursuit of Frankfort. Frankfort is pursuing heavily to the ball.
Some big plays being made tonight by the skill positions. That's Deron Barkley taking that kickoff return, makes a guy miss. That's a common theme in big plays so far. Makes 2 guys miss and gets down for the big-time kickoff return into the plus side for his hot dog teammates.
Yeah, once again, a nice run by Frankfort, and Barkley is a good two-way player for the Frankfort Hot Dogs, and he's been playing. I think this is at least his 3rd year of varsity football, playing both ways.
The brother of Dennis Barkley, both guys doing a nice job filling in multiple positions for this new Coach Justin Kinsey regime. But once again, another explosive play for Frankfort, that time on special teams. Here we are, sending Jaden Davis in motion again, gets it out to him on the sweep, but this time it's the North Putnam defense, escorted by Caden Hankins, getting in for the tackle for loss.
Well, it's interesting. Frankfort is taking a little bit more time in the huddle, using a little bit of clock, and they seemed a little bit more organized in the last 2 drives than they did earlier in the game.
You have to believe that's part of the game plan. If North Putnam is scoring quickly and in a hurry, if you're Frankfort, just take a little bit more time to get into the rhythm that you want offensively, but that's not what they were looking for as Kiefer Dooley handed it off on 2nd down, tackled for a minimal gain, 3rd and long coming up.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they're going to have tough sledding in the middle of this line because when they come up, they're in a very packed offensive formation, and you have 10 players on North Putnam within about 4 yards of the line of scrimmage, and so it's going to be hard to run up the middle.
Kiefer Dooley takes the under center snap once again, but not before the penalty on his offensive set, illegal motion, not allowing 2 guys can be moving at the same time, but at least one of them out of 2 has to be set before you snap that football. Actually, the call was just changed to a false start on the offense, so goes back -5. 3rd and long here for a passing team that Frankfort is not. What can they do to maybe get half of this yardage and potentially go for it on 4th down?
I got to think they have to have some type of misdirection and maybe look for the swing back here. And there.
And Kiefer Dooley doing a nice job just going and getting back that 5 yards with drawing the defense off sides with his snap count. So now we're back into more of a manageable 3rd and long set. Instead of being 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16, we're at 3rd and 11. And we try this 3rd down play for now the 3rd time.
I would try to get the ball somehow back to Jaden Davis's hands.
Once again, for those just joining us, Jaden Davis taking one almost 80 yards to the house for the first score of Frankfort tonight. And this time it's Kiefer Dooley taking it himself, is a bit hobbled by injury, kept it there, but the defense of North Putnam not fooled there and got him down. 4th down coming.
Yeah, it looked like he was running a little bit of option play, but it took a long time to develop. And the Frankfort line is playing on the North Putnam side of the football. I would imagine that Frankfort will let the clock run out and have a little conference and see what they can do on fourth down.
Attention all engaged couples, discover why the Willow Creek Barn has been voted the Knott's Best of Weddings for 4 years in a row. Nestled just outside Frankfort, Indiana, our venue offers stunning indoor and outdoor ceremony options with breathtaking photo opportunities. We provide the perfect backdrop for your dream barn wedding. To start planning your unforgettable day, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com and visit us here in just a second as we get ready for the second quarter where North Putnam is up 21-6.
Running a small business. Your hands are full. We can help. FiberHawk partners with local companies by providing business class internet, phone, TV, and customized bundles to meet your needs. Our fiber-powered system delivers reliable speed with enhanced security. Running a business is tough. Contact FiberHawk today and let our expert team give you a hand.
Frankfort Eagles 976 has bingo every Wednesday night. Early birds beginning at 6 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 7 p.m. Packets are $25 and includes every game you need to play. They also have Saturday bingo the first Saturday of every month, with early birds starting at 4 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 5 p.m. Big game payouts each game with 3 to 4 chances to win different jackpot games each day. Great for individuals or groups because everyone enjoys winning lots of money. You must be 18 years or older to play.
Turnover, something.
Back here at Frankfort High School football field where the Frankfort Hot Dogs are going for it on fourth down. Fake the end around, get it into the hands of James Lozano. But North Putnam not full. It gets the fourth down, turnover on downs. But that can't all be a negative because now North Putnam starts in backed up territory just a bit as they come out on offense with Owen Thurman, the sophomore, taking over the quarterback reins.
So those two screen passes they called, one that worked and one that didn't. Frankfort is really going hard to the ball. So a little bit of the misdirection and delay has really helped North Putnam on a couple of their touchdowns.
As we've already stated, it hasn't taken long play-wise for North Putnam to get anything going, and that's a similar tune that we see right now, and that's Wes Murphy getting another jet sweep out to the perimeter for a 16-yard gain on first down, making defenders miss left and right, getting down to the 44-yard line in positive territory. On Thurman flips his hips and gets it out to West Murphy. Once again, a similar play, just an extension off of the run game, getting into the perimeter. West Murphy going again for a gain of 9.
Yeah, he's done a nice job in the last couple passes, getting his feet set, putting the ball in the receiver's hands so he can get some yards after catch.
Second down and just a yard to go. It's easy when you have Wes Murphy in the backfield. You don't need much, and he gets you everything that you need. Another first down for North Putnam.
Yeah, the young man averages almost 8 yards a carry, and he's picked up a couple nice first downs on this drive. And as you see, North Putnam is moving the ball relatively easy.
Wes Murphy, 2 touchdowns tonight, 1 on the ground, 1 in the air, had 5 rushing touchdowns to start this game, and he has added to that total. And that's Chase Barber catching the short end-around pass, getting a first down, but don't be so quick to celebrate, Cougars. We have a flag on the play, potentially coming back.
Looks like a little offensive pass interference, which that call's not made very often in high school, especially in that part of the field. So I got to think the tight end might have created a little space as he moved across the middle.
And what was an illegal block in the back was actually signaled offensive pass interference. But, Coach, you are spot on. If it was offensive pass interference, not something that you see often, not just at the high school level, but really any level, that's usually a defensive backfield type of penalty. And to that point, a 15-yard penalty that would coincide with the offensive pass interference, as you said, not something that you see that often.
Maybe there's a reason he was open.
Sometimes when you get in the way of the defender long enough, it's unknown to those watching, but very clear to the officials. Misdirection again. That was Owen Thurman looking out to his right, coming back to his left, looking for receiver Sam Went, but not able to connect.
That young man had a lot of room in front of him, and I think he was looking at the grass instead of the ball and didn't see it into his arms. Now they're faced with the second and maybe 25, but based on how this offense is running, I'm thinking coach is thinking let's get half of it back, and then. But for North Putnam, I imagine they're in 4-down territory.
Second down and a long mile to go for the Cougars. Owen Thurman takes the snap. They give it off to Wes Murphy, and then he hands it to Chase Barber. But the Frankfort defense not fooled. That's Benny Chuka. Sniffed it out the entire way, getting in the backfield for the tackle for loss.
Yeah, he has had a good year on the defensive side of the ball.
Doing a nice job for Frankfort, sniffing out the misdirection the entire time, got up the field, read it just long enough, and was able to make a play on the ball carrier. Third and even longer now for Owen Thurman and his Cougar bunch. Elects to get it out to Chase Barber once again, but that's James Lozano flying in. Once again, Frankfort defense showing some life, although down 15, defense not showing that deficit.
You know what? As ironic as it is, that young man that had the penalty on out of bounds, since then Frankfort has shown some physicality. They have gang tackled, they have ran to the ball, and they've made some tackles for losses, and that's got to be, I'm guessing, one of their best defensive possessions of their entire season right there.
One thing that's super unique about this North Putnam team, they actually don't have a statistic recorded for a punt according to their max preps, but they're getting it back to Sam Went, who does the first punt of the day for North Putnam and gets a nice roll down to the 21-yard line, getting Frankfort backed up into their own territory.
Yeah, they went from 1st and 10 to 4th and 36, and it was kind of started with that offensive pass interference.
At Tier 1 Meat Co., we take pride in delivering locally sourced premium beef and pork, the kind of meat that honors the land, respects the craft, and fuels families with real flavor. From custom processing to mission-ready catering, we bring the firepower to elevate every meal and every moment. Founded by veterans, every cut is elite, and every customer is family. Step into Tier 1 at 128 West Catherine Street in Flora, or visit us online at tier1meatco.com. Frankfort's offense back on the field. Kiefer Dooley trying to find his receiver, and that's exactly what he does. The big fella Josh Taylor trying to run away from the rest of North Putnam's team, breaks a tackle, and then gets out on the 8-yard line. An absolutely stunning play right there. A play that goes for a huge game. Everything that they've done offensively and in special teams has been synonymous with explosive.
Yeah, that was really a nice pass. It was just a little release route, and that young man ran almost 60 yards.
81 yards to gain on that one. That going from Kiefer Dooley to Josh Taylor, their most explosive pass play of the season. And there it is. Handoff going to running back Danny Jaycox gets in for the touchdown. Frankfort capitalizing on that explosive play, getting into the end zone for the second score of the game.
We talked about it at the outset. Can you convert transition? Can you convert some plays into points? And you've seen Frankfort here a couple times turn long plays into points. And you know yourself, if you don't have to have a drive that's 10, 12, 15 plays, it's a lot easier.
Coach Kinsey said they were going to see a variety of guys at that fullback position. Dennis Barkley, Danny Jaycox's name came up. They've done it by committee. And when it comes to scoring tonight, they've done that by committee as well, trying to get in for the two-point conversion, but no luck there.
Yeah, I see what they tried to do is a little bit of delayed quarterback draw, but they've had their success, obviously, there with the little dump pass and running misdirection and outside. So we'll see if they can continue to break off some big plays, but they've had 2 big plays, and they have more yardage tonight than they've had in any game this year.
And we'll see if Frankfort can continue this wave of an offensive onslaught right now as we step away for just a second, but back for more. 21-12, Frankfort only down 9 in the second quarter.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grounds, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
If you're just now tuning in, you have missed a phenomenal start to homecoming weekend for the Frankfort Hot Dogs. In the first quarter, it was Jaden Davis going about 80 yards for pay dirt. And then in that second quarter, just a little bit ago, that was Josh Taylor going for 81 yards just before Jaycox stepped in the end zone. Danny Jaycox, that is, for the touchdown, senior here on homecoming night. Everyone in Frankfort feeling good. And here we are, another swing of the pendulum. Frankfort kicking off to North Putnam, trying to keep the excitement going here at Frankfort High School football field. And that's Noah McConnell fielding the ensuing kickoff and gets it out to the 37-yard line where North Putnam's offense will take over.
You know what? If you're Frankfort, you'd like to play homecoming every week if you're going to play like this. The crowd's excited. You know, they have 12 points tonight. Up to tonight, they'd only had 8 points all year. So what a nice offensive outburst for Frankfort tonight.
Coach Kinsey saying that the skill set of Kiefer Dooley, he can be taken advantage of with the spread sets, a little bit of gun stuff that we like to get to, he said. And there we saw it, getting it to Josh Taylor for a massive gain. And there's that man again. Joe Lozano finding his way into the backfield. James Lozano finding his way into the backfield once again for the Frankfort Hot Dogs.
Yeah, Frankfort is playing a lot more physical now, and the line of scrimmage has become almost a draw.
Owen Thurman takes the snap, hands it off to Wes Murphy. Wes Murphy off the left side of that offensive line, gets down for a gain of what looks to be 9 yards. 3rd and short coming up for North Putnam.
Yeah, both teams are having success off tackle and misdirection. Not much success up the middle for either team.
But a lot of success on defense. If you are the Frankfort Hot Dogs, that time James Lozano guessed wrong, and Wes Murphy made him pay. 1st down, North Putnam.
Yeah, they ran right by the ball carrier. 4 of them. Wow. Good for North Putnam.
And that's Wes Murphy once again pounding the rock to him a lot. Looked like he was bottled up, but then trying reverse field, but all the men in blue were there waiting for him.
Looks like we got some more laundry on the field. My guess is it's got to be, at that point, probably a holding call.
And that is exactly right. And that's Coach Bob Maslam being the stand-in referee from the broadcast booth, doing an outstanding job calling the holding call before anyone could even get their eyes adjusted to what happened on that play. So another negative play. Doesn't matter which team it's been on, but we've seen both teams go backwards more times than they would probably like. And so we have another 1st and long coming up. North Putnam way too familiar with this type of territory as they've seen this in back-to-back drives.
Yeah, my percentage of getting calls right as an announcer was a heck of a lot better than it was as a coach. I can just tell you that.
Well, no one's really worried about the past. We're only worried about the present. Doing a nice job.
Oh. This is how the last drive started. They ended up at 4th and 35.
And that's Owen Thurman faking the handoff and turns into a runner himself, but takes a big hit on the sideline, picks up 7, is able to get back at least half of that yardage. But as you see there, Owen Thurman taking things into his own hands, getting some positive yards on that 1st down play.
Yeah, Owen Thurman has not run the ball much this year, but he's doing a nice job running the ball tonight, and he's a very physical, athletic kid.
Only 9 carries for 17 yards before this game started. as a key piece on the offense for the Cougars. But Owen Thurman stepping in 2 weeks in a row now with Christian Kramer out, the quarterback and elder statesman of this football team, not in uniform tonight. So the responsibility falls into the hands of Thurman as he takes another snap, looks to his left, rolls out right, looking for receivers down the field, trying to get it to McConnell, is not able to get it, but there is Deron Barkley once again, steps in a major way. Anytime that ball gets tipped up in the air, defenses go on high alert. Barkley comes up with a big one.
Yeah, the young man, Owen, running to his right for a left-hander. That's a very hard throw. The receiver was double-teamed, and Burkett made a great tip. You run that tip drill in practice. Remember the summer days in August, tip drill, tip drill, tip drill. And then, sometimes it works in a game. And now they have very good field position. They only have to go about, 64 yards for a touchdown. It'd be big for them to be able to score before the first half.
And just as fast as North Putnam has scored in bunches with not many plays, it's been the same type of explosion from Frankfort as they hand it off to Danny Jaycox on that first down play, just getting 2 yards.
You know what? Had he not been tackled there, he had a lot of grass in front of him. That would have been a very long gain.
Maybe something that Coach Kinsey and his crew maybe look at coming back to as this drive potentially gets going.
Yeah, they keep pounding the middle. They must see something.
That's Kiefer Dooley back at the quarterback position again. For those who understand the triple option, the cornerstone of that offense is that fullback position, handing off that dive time and time again just to get a feel of how they're defending it. And so far, Kiefer Dooley doing a nice job leading this offense, only down 9 points with just under halfway to go in the second quarter. Kiefer Dooley sends a guy in motion, hands off the dive. Once again, that time to James Lozano. And a bit of an interesting curve there we saw, Coach. 3 straight run plays after an explosive play was generated by your defense. What's your assessment?
You know what? I think they're having a tough time running up the middle of this North Putnam line, but obviously the coaches see something, but it's a quick handoff where there's a lot of people congested. You have the quarterback, you have the running back, you have the lineman, you have defensive line, and if you break one, you break one, but so far they've not been able to get more than 2 or 3 yards up the middle.
The interesting part is your defense creates a turnover, and instead of being aggressive with maybe pushing the ball down the field, you go with 3 straight fullback dives, and although you get the offsides and you cut what was 4th and 6 into 4th and 1, you still feel that if you don't get this, you kind of don't take advantage of that turnover generated by your defense and Deron Barkley.
Okay, so Barkley is in now at quarterback, so we'll see if he pulls it out and does the option.
And that's Dennis Barkley, the senior, played quarterback, a capable passer from last season, has transitioned into a bit of a different role, playing some linebacker, 3rd on the team in tackles, sends a guy in motion, but a capable guy right there in the middle, bigger body, but I'm not too sure that he's able to fall forward, and he did not. He was stuffed right in the middle. All those big guys in front by North Putnam, Beckett Brager, and Sam Osborne doing a nice job getting a surge, preventing Barkley from getting that first down.
Yeah, that's an interesting call. 4 times in a row, they gain 5 yards on a penalty and 4 yards on 5 rushing plays. Or 4 rushing plays.
Anticlimactic, if you will. The excitement was brewing in this stadium, and it feels like a bit of a friendly fire by Frankfort not continuing to be aggressive there. FiberHawk now available. FiberHawk fiber internet. Super fast speeds, no more buffering, perfect for all sizes of business. FiberHawk offers every speed to meet your internet needs. For more on offerings and availability, go to fiberhawk.com or call 765-922-HAWK FAST. Affordable FiberHawk.
Well, it's going to be big here for Frankfort to try to hold North Putnam off the scoreboard. Right now it's still a 2-score game, but 9 points is a lot different than 15, 16, 17. And so Frankfort has played well in the second quarter on defense. They've been running to the ball, gang tackling. It's been very physical.
Wes Murphy goes in motion, fakes the handoff. That's Owen Thurman once again, finds some blocking out in front. And on 2nd and 5 is able to get 10, more than enough for that first down.
You notice how the spacing is different when North Putnam runs the option than when Frankfort. Frankfort has everybody in a tight formation. The linemen are almost foot to foot, lockstep, and North Putnam's a little bit spread out, which makes the hole a little bit easier to create for blocking angles.
All that you're really saying is when you put all of your offensive resources in a confined space, you bail the defense out, for a lack of a better term. That's Wes Murphy once again have said his name a lot. First down and 10, and is able to get exactly that. Gets another first down for the Cougars.
Yeah, Frankfort almost runs a goal line offense in the middle of the field.
And you can argue that so far that's worked for them nicely as they've scored the most points they have this entire season.
Yeah, they got another motion there with North Putnam.
And have a false start on North Putnam as they're trying to go right the wrong of Owen Thurman throwing up a go get him, and Deron Barkley coming down with the interception. The defense got the stop. That is the defense for the Cougars. Now the Cougars, after their defense did their job trying to do theirs and get another score on the scoreboard for the guest right here at Frankfort High School football field. Owen Thurman back in the shotgun, hands it off to Wes Murphy once again. Every time they've handed it off to him up the middle, it's always been a wealth of gold right in the teeth of the Frankfort defense, getting into 3rd and manageable. They're on that 2nd and manageable now with a 2nd and 5 call coming up.
Well, the difference in North Putnam running up the middle, if you notice, they have 3 receivers out there, so they're taking 2 or 3 defenders with them, whereas Frankfort, when they're running up the middle, they have all 11 people on the line of scrimmage, and it's a little bit easier for North Putnam to defend the dive play.
One thing to pay attention to as we get down into the final seconds of this first half is Frankfort won the toss, deferred to the second half, so they do receive the opening kickoff in that second half kickoff. So would like to see, if you're Coach Justin Kinsey, your defense get a stop and maybe get a score before this one goes to the halftime break. That time, Owen Thurman takes it off the left side, gets into the 4-yard line for 2nd and goal coming up for the Cougars. We got another Frankfort hot dog defender down on the field as we wait for the trainers to get out there to him. But Wamplers is a place where recycling always makes sense. Please call Wamplers at 659-3721 for all your trash, recycling, and scrap needs. Wamplers Disposal Service and Recycling, family owned since 1948. Here at Frankfort High School football field, we've had an up and down game. I think some as a surprise to those in attendance, but Frankfort right here in the thick of competition, only 21-12. 2 big-time touchdowns. Jaden Davis doing an outstanding job. Josh Taylor contributing with his own explosive reception of 81 yards right before Danny Jaycox got into the end zone for the touchdown. As we have a bit of a break in the action right now, Coach, what have you liked from the Frankfort Hot Dogs thus far?
I've liked the fact that they continue to fight. You know, they got down early. And then they came back and made a couple nice plays offensively. They've had some stops on defense, and then they got a turnover. They almost had 2 turnovers. They've caused a fumble. It seems like their physicality has increased as the game has moved toward the end of the first half. North Putnam jumped out on them early on, and then I do believe that penalty out of bounds really spurred some enthusiasm with the Frankfort team, and now they're continuing to fight. It will be big for them if they can hold North Putnam out of the end zone here in the last 88 seconds.
Physicality is a word that you said a few times in tonight's game, and it's really been complimentary of Frankfort and how they've responded to the quickness of North Putnam. And I really like, as you've alluded to, that physicality being kind of like the neutralizer in Frankfort's effort tonight to really make this a football game. As you see, Kiefer Dooley, I stand corrected, that's Josh Taylor, as I've already mentioned, took a big 81-yard gain down to the 8-yard line earlier this quarter before Frankfurt scored their second touchdown of the game, walking gingerly off the field as he's greeted by a barrage of Frankfurt Hot Dog teammates. A big loss for them potentially if he's not able to return to the game. Frankfurt trying to stand strong on this 2nd and goal right now from the 5-yard line, just under the 5-yard line. Owen Thurman takes the snap once again and is escorted into the end zone without being touched by Frankfurt. Another touchdown for North Putnam.
Yeah, that hole was really big. And as I alluded to earlier, Jared, when you take 3 receivers and spread them out wide, they've run a couple screen passes. Now, see, they only have 2 out there, but look at the spread formation.
You create more gaps when you split guys out wide, and that's exactly what North Putnam has done, and they get in for another 2-point conversion, and they take the 29-12 lead just before this one goes to halftime. So with about 1 minute and 19 seconds left to go in the game, North Putnam takes all of the momentum back, gets in for the touchdown and the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, that would have been huge for Frankfurt to be able to hold them there and then get the ball to start the second half. But you know what? They still have, 79 seconds. I imagine they'll just run the ball up the middle and be content to go in at 29-12 at halftime and come out in the second half and see if they can generate some momentum. But you never know on these special teams. They broke one earlier in the first half, and who's not to say they can't do the same thing again?
This is a North Putnam team that started the season with a big loss against South Putnam in a game that took place at home, and they went on to win a couple of games and then have found the loss column is something that Coach Bob Maslam talked about at the start of the broadcast, a bit of a losing streak, if you will, for North Putnam, but they've done a nice job tonight taking control of this one from the early onset. Started the season against South Putnam, lost 53-33. And then came back with a big win over Cloverdale, lost to Cascade 42-6, won against Crawfordsville 57-23, and lost the last 2 weeks against Greencastle and Southmont. So as you already talked about it, Coach, North Putnam trying to get back in the win column, but they can't do that when they continue to kick the opening kickoffs out of bounds, and that's Braden Chu, the junior, not allowing his defense to get great starting position as Frankfurt's offense comes out for what seems to be the final drive of this first half.
What's interesting here is North Putnam has 3 timeouts left. If these first couple plays don't generate any positive yardage, I'm wondering if North Putnam is going to try to get the ball back and increase their first half lead.
Well, every time Frankfurt has done anything positive, it's been explosion. That's been the name of their game tonight, something that they haven't seen. Only 8 points to their name this entire season. And so far, they've almost doubled that in the first half. So you would have to think there's more positivity coming offensively for the Hot Dogs. Kiefer Dooley getting everyone set. The spread quarterback that does it better than anyone on the team. Has his receiver down the field, but unable to connect with Quincy Allen. The defender doing a nice job getting his hand in just at the last second, enabling a completion with a batted ball down, another pass deflection for that North Putnam defense.
Well, the defender timed that perfectly.
As long as you're the defender, you don't have to play the ball as long as you're not physically making contact with the offensive receiver. And that time, Chase Barber doing a nice job getting his hands up at the perfect time, preventing that completion. Kiefer Dooley drops back once again, gets it out to his receiver. That time it was a tipped one. Wasn't even supposed to go to Quincy Allen, but he can thank Jaden Davis for tipping that to him. This time, another tip ball going in favor of the Hot Dogs. A bit of a different approach that we saw from Frankfurt's offense after they got the interception. Elected to run the ball 4 straight times when they went for it on 4th down. This time, airing it out a little bit, and that time Kiefer Dooley trying to find his receivers, but no one in sight.
Yeah, they look like they had a little miscommunication on the setup even prior to the play. But it's interesting, they've spread it out a little bit. He's thrown a couple nice passes. One was incomplete and one got tipped for completion.
Some good fortune falling into the hands of the Frankfurt Hot Dogs as they're trying to go into halftime with just under 50 seconds to go, potentially only down one score, and they get it out to Deron Barkley, who does his best job to take on the hit by the defender and gets a positive game, but stays in the field of play, getting that clock to continue to move. But Coach Justin Kinsey calling timeout, a smart timeout there as they cross the 50, get everyone back involved in the huddle, and so you can figure out a plan of attack as you go on this back part of this drive just before halftime.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see their plan of attack here in the last drive. They've spread the formation a little bit. They've allowed him to throw the ball downfield, had a little bit of success, but now it's a big time third down here, because if they throw an incompletion, the clock stops. Then it's fourth down. If they convert, they still have one timeout, but the clock in high school, the clock stops on first down in the field of play. So this is an interesting down for both teams.
How intriguing is this for North Putnam and Coach Scott Moore still having all three of his timeouts, understanding that his defense could get a stop. He could spin that first timeout and potentially play a field position game where they get the ball back and have a chance to go score.
If this is a running play and it's fourth down, I could see him using a timeout.
More to come on that storyline as Kiefer Dooley sends Jaden Davis in motion. Snap is high out to the right, trying to get it to Quincy Allen, but was hit at the same time. Once again, Sam Osborne causing some pressure in the backfield.
Yeah, that was some miscommunication in the backfield as well.
An even better situation for Coach Scott Moore, having all three of his timeouts and Frankfurt bailing them out, throwing an incompletion, and the clock being stopped naturally just based off of the result on the play. And here we are on fourth and what looks to be 7 yards to go. 6 yards, if you will. Kiefer Dooley drops back trying to find his receivers. Had an option route by James Lozano, but unable to connect. Turnover on downs. North Putnam gets the football back with just under 30 seconds to go in the half. 31.4 to be specific.
Yeah, this is the dual-edged sword you play with. If you can't convert, I would look for North Putnam to put the ball up on the right side of the field. He has trips spread out, and he's been able to throw the deep ball.
Opening drive just before the half starts on the 47-yard line. Here's the misdirection once again, finding Wes Murphy along the left side. And all it takes is one play. Wes Murphy gets down underneath the 25, but not so fast. 3 flags come out just behind and around the line of scrimmage. And usually you know what that means. Offensive holding negates a big play for North Putnam.
Yeah, that's happened a couple, 3 times to North Putnam tonight. And when you get the linemen out in space, the blocking angles are different, and they tend to just reach and grab. And if they get it at the wrong angle, it's typically a holding call.
If you're Justin Kinsey's Frankfurt Hot Dogs, how do you prevent those big plays via misdirection with Owen Thurman looking one way and then coming back just to the short side of the field with his receivers out into the boundary?
Well, as a linebacker and defensive back, you're usually reading your keys. So if you're seeing guards pulling the opposite way the quarterback's going, there's something going on. But this is a big play here.
What was first down at the 47-yard line is now 1st and 20 at the 37-yard line. That is North Putnam backed up with 22 seconds left to go in this first half. Playing with house money right now, getting a stop but trying to get some more points here. And they get the ball to Wes Murphy again, whose name has been called every single drive, and it's been working. And a timeout called by Scott Moore and his North Putnam bunch.
Yeah, Coach Moore's probably got 2 plays left because he's got, 2 timeouts left?
Just 2 timeouts left,
yeah.
That is correct.
So you got to think play is going to run 5-6 seconds, especially if they're running the ball. If they throw a long pass, it's going to be 7 or 8 seconds. So I'm guessing he's got 2 plays max. And Frankfurt, on defense, they have to keep the ball in front of them. Sometimes you prevent yourself from winning, but you got to read your keys here, what you talked about earlier. I could see them doing another screen pass. They've had success with the screen passes. A couple times they've had very good screen passes, but the linemen have been in a position where they've had to hold, which in turn made the play successful.
Coach, you talk about keeping everything in front of you. What is the advice as you put your defense back on the field, if you're Coach Justin Kinsey's group, to tell them, hey, keep everything in front of you? How do they do that with these final 10 seconds to go?
Well, I think it starts with the line. The line's got to keep their head up. And the linebackers, they have to move with the flow. And North Putnam has done a nice job of misdirection. So the linebackers, they have to be able to follow their keys, whether it's a guard they're looking at, if they're keying on the running back, if they're keying on the quarterback. But as you see here, Frankfurt's a little bit back.
Owen Thurman takes the snap, sends Wes Murphy in motion. Elects for the double move, but not before the pressure from Frankfurt. As you talked about, Coach, that defensive line creating some pressure. Looks like that was Jaden Boggs getting in for the sack here on homecoming night.
Yeah, if I'm Frankfurt, that was a big-time defensive stop, and they get the ball to start the second half. And if I'm Frankfurt, Coach, I am very pleased with the performance of my young team.
Jaden Boggs, the senior, doing an outstanding job. That young man is still celebrating on the sideline. What a way to finish the first half. What was just a new reality for all those cheering for the Frankfurt Hot Dogs. We'll be back with more for the halftime report. This is the Hot Dog Network on the ISC Sports Network.
At Wampler's Disposal and Recycling, we take pride in offering waste management for commercial and residential clients. As an industry leader, Wampler's Disposal and Recycling brings the most professional and responsive collection service in the business. Since 1948, our family-owned and operated company has provided excellent service at competitive rates. We offer container rentals as well. Our longevity in the industry is a testament to our excellent service. We serve all of Clinton, Tippecanoe, Boone, Howard, and Carroll counties. For all your waste removal needs, call Wampler Services Incorporated today. You can reach us at 765-659-3721. Visit us online at wamplerservicesinc.com.
Welcome to Trinity Hope Center. Here we are actively engaged in our recovery community with a multitude of activities including peer recovery coaching, a full computer lab, grief groups, relapse prevention, pre- and postnatal support group, educational workshops for family members with addicted loved ones, expungent workshops, parent cafes, Saturday pro-social activities, recovery walk club, book club, and even video game nights. For more information, give us a call at 765-250-1845.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grounds, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
Back here at halftime, the first half already in the books, and this is the halftime show presented by the Willow Creek Barn, where nature's beauty meets rustic elegance. And Coach, there is so much to get into. I'm here. My name is Jared Thomas, along my broadcast partner, Coach Bob Maslam. And Coach, so many things to point to in that first half. Give me one or two things that you liked just in totality as we gear up for the second half.
Well, I think, first of all, it was a competitive first half. And I'm not sure that folks, expected that based on how the teams had been playing prior to tonight's game. And so, you have a team that's 0-6 and one that's 2-4. And, obviously it's a little bit of a rivalry game because we're in the conference. But the game has been very, very competitive.
Love that. Coach, got more to get to in this halftime show. We'll be back shortly with some more highlights, and obviously as we look ahead to the latter part of this halftime show, some analysis as we gear up for the second half. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a second.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grands, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
I brought you a present. A book.
Follow the adventures of the Ardente Dental team as they fight cavities, gum disease, and create beautiful, healthy smiles.
Inconceivable. Hello, my name is Dr. Snyder. You cause cavities. Prepare to die. Inconceivable. To make your smile look straight and fine, our braces per month are just $1.99. Inconceivable.
You keep using that word, I do not think it means what you think it means.
Have fun at Ardente Dental.
Welcome to Trinity Hope Center. Here we are actively engaged in our recovery community with a multitude of activities including peer recovery coaching, a full computer lab, grief groups, relapse prevention, pre- and postnatal support group, educational workshops for family members with addicted loved ones, expungent workshops, parent cafes, Saturday pro-social activities, recovery walk club, book club, and even video game nights. For more information, give us a call at 765-250-1845.
In this town, game day starts long before kickoff. It's the work behind the scenes that makes champions. At Tier 1 Meat Company, we prep with the same focus, discipline, and pride as the hometown heroes we feed. From our block to your block, fuel every victory. Tier 1 Meat Company. Mission, feed the fans. Standard, champion quality. Scan the QR code for a game day upgrade.
As we get the homecoming festivities continued, some first half highlights of this matchup between the Cougars and the Hot Dogs. A lot of defense not being played in that first half just because of how explosive those offenses were. Coach, what did you see as we watched these first half highlights with the viewers at home?
Well, what we saw is both teams had the propensity to have some big plays. North Putnam scored in the first 30 seconds of the ball game, and then Frankfort fought its way back with a couple big plays. But it seemed like all of the big plays for both teams have been some type of misdirection, screen pass, delay, with the exception of the long pass that Frankfort had there at the end of the first half. But up the middle, North Putnam has had some success. Frankfort has not had much success running the ball up the middle.
That was the first drive that you're watching right there, and Frankfort almost causing a fumble, but North Putnam still able to go out and score that opening touchdown. As you see Owen Thurman there stepping in at the quarterback position for Christian Kramer. What did you like from Owen Thurman? As you talked about, a lot of misdirection, but all of that starts at that quarterback position.
Yeah, he had a very good command of the offense. The team seemed like they were well organized. He had them in formations. With the exception of a couple false starts, they played really well. They had some holding penalties held back. The young man settled down in the second quarter and completed some passes. I think in the first quarter, his feet got a little antsy and he was throwing off the back foot. But the young man has done a wonderful job. Obviously, whenever you put 29 points on the board in a half, you're doing a pretty good job at quarterback.
And that touchdown you saw was from wide receiver number 4, Jaden Davis for Frankfort. Their first touchdown, second touchdown for the season, but their first touchdown of this game got the crowd really involved. What did you like from that explosive offensive performance that we saw from everyone in blue in that first half?
Well, you know what? They had 2 or 3 big plays. They had a good kickoff return. They had a long touchdown return. They had a long pass to the tight end, which was, 60, 70, 75 yards. And they seem to be playing with a little bit more energy and confidence in the second quarter. They could have stopped playing early because they got down really quick. But as I said, I mentioned a couple times, is that penalty on the sideline in front of their bench for tackling unsportsmanlike out of bounds really put a spark into Frankfort.
They did a nice job responding after that. It wasn't just the touchdown by Jaden Davis. It was the interception by Deron Barkley. It was the explosive pass play from Kiefer Dooley to Josh Taylor scurrying for 81 yards just before Danny Jaycox was able to get in for the 8-yard rushing touchdown. That's the aforementioned Josh Taylor doing a nice job. The big fella, 255 pounds, almost broke free on that one to get even more yards, potentially a touchdown. But nonetheless, the Blue Men were able to get in the end zone.
Yeah, he did a nice job of breaking away, protecting the ball. You saw him switch hands from right hand, left hand. You don't see that a lot at the high school level. But I would say Frankfort, in the first half, they've been opportunistic. They got a couple. They got a tip pass. They got a couple big plays. They bounced back for some penalties. So, I got to think that Coach Kinsey is pretty pleased with the first half performance of his Frankfort Hot Dogs.
And once again, this is Coach Kinsey in his first year as head coach here at Frankfort. Already talked about spent time at Mishawaka Marion here in the state of Indiana. Was at South Bend Riley before he was head coach for the 2020 and 21 season. Now taking over this program. Coach, in your time coaching, when you take over a team that hasn't seen success, this is a team in the Frankfort Hot Dogs that have lost 25 straight games dating all the way back to week 1 in 2023 that they haven't seen a victory. What do you have to do when you take things over to instill confidence that you can at least just go get a win at some point in time?
Well, I think there's three things. First of all, you have to teach the kids how to play. Then you have to teach the kids how to compete, and then you have to teach the kids how to win. And I think those three steps take some time. Right now, I think he's in the initial stages, formative stages, if you will, and teaching the kids to play. Now, tonight, they're bordering on being competitive. Now, can they pull it off? But, for having played yourself, you play, you compete, and you win, and each of those steps, there's some room in between. You just don't start out as a winner.
I love what you said. Each of those steps, there are steps even in failure to approaching success. And one of those is instilling confidence and belief, as you said, surprising some of those people here tonight with how competitive this game has been thus far. A lot of these games, truthfully has been blowouts at this point in time. But now you have an actual game as we continue the coverage of homecoming here. The community feels involved in this one tonight, and everyone is excited about what's going on with Coach Kinsey and the Frankfort Hot Dogs.
You can just feel the excitement in the crowd. People standing up, hollering, screaming. I know it's homecoming, but still, I think they saw some plays tonight that they have not seen all year. And yourself, once the crowd gets a little engaged, the kids run a little harder or run a little faster, they hit a little harder, they pay a little bit more of attention. And I got to think that Coach Kinsey in the locker room at halftime is pleased and talking about what they did well and maybe what a few maybe things they can adjust to make up some ground in the second half. And on the other hand, North Putnam played a very good first half. They're up 29-12. Their kids played really well. They're without their starting quarterback, their leading receiver, and they're still doing a nice job of putting the ball in the end zone.
Young team for Frankfort, only 7 seniors they have on their roster. So you have a lot of young guys. Even if they're juniors, still young because they're not leaving the program next year. What do you look for in a young team executing on the field-wise that helps them propel them into future success?
Well, when they play a game like tonight, if I'm a youngster, I get a little bit more confidence. Before tonight's game, I'm not sure they've been able to play any games that have given them any confidence. And, you want the youngsters to continue to work hard and strive to, their junior and senior year. But if you don't have any type of feeling of you're moving along, you're climbing the ladder, you're getting better, you don't see any improvement, it's hard to keep pounding it.
And then for North Putnam, you talked about they've had a great game too. Scored 29 points in the first half. That's not easy to do. What have you liked from them, although they haven't had their Butler commit at quarterback in Christian Kramer?
I think they've dominated the line of scrimmage. They've made some big plays. You can tell they're pretty well coached because they're able to run the hurry up rather efficiently. At the high school level, it's hard. It's hard college, hard pro level. You see a lot of mistakes. But, for somebody that's not played quarterback other than one game this year, the young man has done a masterful job of handling the offense at the line of scrimmage, getting him in the right formations. Coach has had him spread out a little bit, which has made it, in my opinion, easier to run up the middle. And then when they've got the runs up the middle, he's come back with a couple screen plays. One went for a long touchdown. The first one could have gone for a long touchdown, but quarterback, wasn't quite feet ready and overthrew his receiver. But I think he's done a great job at playing quarterback in the first half.
Outstanding job and analysis by you, Coach. There's still more to come. As you said, Coach Scott Moore and his group keeping Frankfort on their toes and on their heels defensively as they're trying to adjust to the offense. But I don't want you to adjust at home. More to come in this halftime report as you see the homecoming festivities, even with some football players going on here. But we'll be back in just a moment to continue the halftime report.
Frankfort Eagles 976 has bingo every Wednesday night. Early birds beginning at 6 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 7 p.m. Packets are $25 and includes every game you need to play. They also have Saturday bingo the first Saturday of every month, with early birds starting at 4 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 5 p.m. Big game payouts each game with 3 to 4 chances to win different jackpot games each day. Great for individuals or groups because everyone enjoys winning lots of money. You must be 18 years or older to play.
At Day and Ginda Funeral Home, we embrace change while staying true to timeless values. Our commitment to putting families first remains steadfast. With up-to-date practices and unwavering compassion, we offer the highest quality of service for your loved ones. Trust to serve your family with a classic commitment in modern times. Day and Ginda Funeral Home, putting family first.
Some see a wrestling match. We see a 6-minute lesson in grit. Some see a coach sending a runner home. We see a mentor guiding a student athlete into the future. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
We've all heard the question, if a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Honestly, we're not sure either. But what we do know is that if it falls in your yard, it usually leaves behind an unsightly stump that you'll be stuck mowing around. At JXN Stump Solutions, we'll get rid of that stump for good, and here's the best part. We offer free estimates, so you'll know the cost before the work begins. We deliver quality work from a professional, locally owned company with a commitment to leaving your property cleaner, safer, and stump-free. Contact us today at 242-9523. At JXN Stump Solutions, we're rooted in service and driven to remove.
Coach, as we were sitting during that timeout that we had on the broadcast, we heard some outstanding saxophone play. I think one that caught your attention. What did you like from that halftime performance there that you saw?
Oh, my gosh, you got a defensive tackle, a junior, Louis Madeira, doing a saxophone solo in the middle of the band at homecoming night, and he's played a whale of a first half, and then you're able to come out with the band and perform like that. Hats off to the young man. That's getting it out there. I think there are 3 football players that were part of the band from Frankfort, and the fact that these kids are so multi-talented, whether they play multiple sports or they're in multiple activities, will bode them well in the rest of their careers, whether it be in education, business, sports, athletics, whatever the case might be. But my goodness, I've not seen a young man come out and perform a saxophone solo in the middle of a halftime with the marching band in a football uniform.
So you already mentioned back in 1968 when you got your first opportunity to be out on the field and the court for the first time, the moments that you feel, and then you advance all the way to 2025. You see the talent of those at the Frankfort High School and what they can do, and the sky is the limit for everyone. What has life looked like for just high school sports and how it's advanced in the span of time that you witnessed it as a high schooler to now as a broadcaster?
Well, the biggest change is we didn't have a tournament. We you played your 10 games and you were done. So if you won all 10 or you lost all 10, After the 10, you were done. And, we had big crowds. I would say one of the other bigger changes, and we're at smaller schools, but we had a lot of kids that went out for football. I went to Arlington, which, we had 2,800, 3,000 kids. So there were a lot of kids on the football team, and football was probably the only sport you didn't cut. Now, if you go to some of the other schools, in the 6As in the area in Indianapolis, they're going to have a lot of kids on the football team. But, here you see there's not a lot of kids on the sidelines. I think the other thing you see is now coaches are more focused on kids playing one sport, whether it's football or basketball or baseball. Back in my day, we were all encouraged to play multiple sports. You went to Cathedral.
I played 2 sports.
Yeah, I played 3 sports. Now, if you try to play 3 sports, you're like, no coach is going to like you. But it's very interesting how the evolution. I think the kids are a lot more savvy than we played. Today you get to drink water. Back in our day, water. If you drank water, you were a baby. We had a hose every once in a while. But now, you get water after every play. But it's still high school football, and there's nothing like it running out on the field on Friday night when you're playing for your high school. I just remember those days. I remember when my son did it. I remember when I did it. And here as a broadcaster, you still get the same kind of excitement. And you got to think of the parents and the grandparents and the families in the stands, how proud they are when they see, their little Johnny, Billy, or whoever run out on the field and make a play.
And here we are, a lot of plays being made in that first half. We already touched on some of them as both teams trot back out on the field, getting ready for the second half. If you're just now joining us right now, 29-12 advantage North Putnam. It was a lot of Wes Murphy. It was a lot of Owen Thurman at the quarterback position for the Cougars. But then on the other side, don't forget about those Frankfurt hot dogs doing a nice job themselves. Jaden Davis getting into the end zone for the first score. And then it was Danny Jaycox getting an 8-yard rushing touchdown to get that second touchdown of the game for the hot dogs. But as we look ahead to the second half, Coach, I need some adjustments, but I need them for both sides with both teams. What do you have for me for North Putnam that they need to do offensively and defensively to secure the win here tonight?
I think North Putnam, 3 things. I think they need to continue to dominate the line of scrimmage as they did in the first half. I think as important, they need to limit penalties. Some of the penalties I think they were a 4th and 35 at one point, and some of those penalties were big. They had some holdings. They had some a couple big holdings called that held them back, and they need to be able to complete some more passes. And I think this young man has enough ability to be able to have a little bit more balanced attack in the second half. On the Frankfurt side, I think they need to continue, if they can, to get a couple more turnovers. They got 1 in the first half, almost had 2, led them to a short field. Take advantage of that. I think they need to continue to do some misdirection, which will help them against the size of North Putnam. But I would like to see them spread them out a little bit more. You saw there at the end of the first half, they spread them out a little bit. But when they have all 11 people in that goal line offense, that allows North Putnam to have almost 10.5 people stacked within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and that's hard. That's hard to do. And you saw at times the running back and the quarterback bumping into each other because they were so close. But I'd like to see the spacing a little bit better. Easy for me to say, but that'd be my suggestion.
So your suggestions falling on the hearts of the Cougars from North Putnam goes a long way for them, but you have to bring the other side up to speed just as much. So for Frankfurt, what do they need to do offensively and defensively to now go take this lead and go win this game?
Yeah, I think I just talked about that in the latter part of that segment, is that I would like to see them spread the offense a little bit more and maybe not have as many tight formations to give them a little bit more room to breathe, because they're having a difficult time running the 0 gap or whatever, 2 gap, whatever you want to call it, right guard, left tackle, right tackle. Once they've gotten outside, had a little misdirection, they've had some success. They get the ball, the playmakers out in, to use a Kurt Herbstreit place, out in space. He loves that term, but so out in space, okay? And a little bit more of the misdirection. And if they can also help by getting a couple more turnovers. Like I said, they had one the first half on the tip pass, which was a great play. They had a fumble they weren't able to turn into points. But you know yourself, you get a short field, it's a little bit easier than having to go the 60, 70, 80 yards.
Well, we're gearing up for another half of exciting football being brought to you on the Hot Dog Network, partnering with the ISC Sports Network. Everyone here from Lucas Rushton and Guillermo Mariano Navarrete, Colin Miller, Ethan Gephardt, and the teacher, the man, the myth, the legend, that is Richard Salih, doing a nice job making it easier on us, Coach, here tonight, as they're all excited about what they've seen from their Frankfort team. Just hoping for the community, for those watching, that Frankfort can keep up that same effort as they gear up for this second half. And now, as the Frankfort Hot Dogs get ready to take the opening kick, we saw them 2 possessions to end the first half. One, they got a turnover. They weren't aggressive. They ran the ball 4 straight times, getting stopped on 4th down, a turnover on downs advantage for North Putnam, and then tried to air it out just before the half and didn't have success there. How do they need to start this third quarter with attacking this North Putnam offense that was different from what we saw at the latter part of the first half?
Well, they need to be able to generate some yards on first down. They did a couple times when they had second 2 or 3, but too often the first half they were, second 9, second 10, second 8, and that's kind of hard because they're a running team. They're not a passing team, so they need to generate some yardage on first and second down. So third down is a little bit easier, and then they were able to break off a kickoff return the first half. See if they can do one in the second half. What I want to note is that, at the end of the first half, on the end of the first half festivities, we saw Christian Kramer and Griffin Starr out there playing pass, throwing the ball 40, 50 yards. So, the young man's going to Butler. I don't know where Starr's going, but it's interesting watching them out there in kind of street clothes, playing pitch and catch, then being on the sideline, but not playing tonight.
One of those things that you just don't know.
Yeah.
Extra information as to why they're not playing, but they are not. But it does not matter for the Cougars because they're up 17 right now. And, Coach, I think all you're really saying is Frankfort just has to make their layups, going back to that hardwood, being efficient on first down. But here we are, kickoff in the second half, and that's Chu with another kick that goes out of bounds. You can tell by his reaction he was not intending for that one to fall out of bounds but be placed in a particular part of the field, but having no success now the third time that kickoff team has done so, giving another nod to great field position for the Frankfort Hot Dogs as we get ready for Kiefer Dooley to come out at the quarterback position to start this second half.
The kickoffs have been a little bit of mind-boggling for me. He's kicked all 3 of them in the same spot. They've all gone out of bounds at the same spot, and they've rolled and stopped. And the kid looks like he has a strong leg. But look at the spread now for Frankfort.
Once again, the advice that you gave during those halftime adjustments already paying dividends. Fakes the handoff, but not fooling the defense. And that's everyone, Wes Murphy included, living in that backfield as Kiefer Dooley was trying to get the ball to Jaden Davis.
That was a very slow developing play. And obviously they were spread out, but when he came across the formation, he brought a linebacker with him, and North Putnam did a great job securing the edge there.
It was okay for one guy to maybe be up the field because you can fake that way in which the ball carrier was traveling and give it to the other. But North Putnam had 3 defenders in the backfield, nowhere really for Frankfort to go. And that time, a big hit by this North Putnam defense causing a fumble. And it looks like Frankfort was able to retain possession. So 2 plays, 2 negative ones to start for Frankfort. So far, what's your assessment, Coach?
Well, the timing hasn't been good on either play. The first play was slow developing. The second play, the quarterback and the running back ran into each other. So hopefully Frankfort can get a little more balance up at the line of scrimmage and get off a successful play here.
Kiefer Dooley sends Deron Barkley in motion, but a bit of misdirection on that one brings him right back to his wing set, sends him in motion again, looking to attack but not so fast. And that's Beckett Brager getting the tackle for loss, and this North Putnam defense sending a statement that just because you had life in that first half does not mean it's going to be the same in the second.
You know what? Frankfort came out a little bit listless. Those first 3 plays didn't, produce a negative 4 yards. And North Putnam, as they did in the first half, have controlled the line of scrimmage here at the outset. And I believe this is the first punt for Frankfort tonight.
And that's Logan Light, who has shared some of the punting responsibilities with Deron Barkley. Comes out for what will be just his 5th punt of the season, 2 coming here tonight. And it falls, and it looks like it's rumbling just before it goes out of bounds at the 49-yard line. North Putnam taking possession just shy of the 50-yard line.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not the start that Coach Kinsey envisioned when he came out for halftime. Negative 4 yards and then maybe a 15-yard punt. But North Putnam now has the opportunity to put some more space between them and Frankfort on this first drive. They'll only have to go a half field.
The one positive to deferring to the second half is you start on offense to start the second half, but when your defense does a nice job like North Putnam does, it doesn't even feel like you're affected by the original decision of the coin toss. And here's Owen Thurman under center, gets it to Wes Murphy. Once again, it seems like that phrase, Owen Thurman getting it to Wes Murphy, has been on auto loop as Wes Murphy goes for what looks to be enough for a first down on the first play from scrimmage on their offensive possession.
Yeah, if he stays to the outside, he has a touchdown. But, the young man got a first down.
Owen Thurman trying to catch the defense slacking in their approach, trying to get it out quickly to Noah McConnell. Sells it over his head just a little bit. Noah McConnell only standing at 5'4", so that target not as big as you would like it, but nonetheless not able to connect sophomore to junior. Here we are again. Wes Murphy gets the ball over the left side, gets past the first line of defense, almost able to get past the second, and gets a positive gain of almost 17 yards on 2nd and long.
Yeah, he's helping his average tonight. He coming in the game, he averaged almost 8 yards a carry and over almost 104 yards per game, and that young man has had a good ball game.
It's a guy whose name has been called all night long, doing a nice job even when he doesn't get the football, being a role of deception, allowing his quarterback to get some yards on first down, but that is before the penalty flags came and hit the grass here at Frankfort High School.
So I'm
football
guessing
field.
We got holding on North Putnam, and then a young man for Frankfort was like within a half yard to get off the field, and the referee tossed his flag.
Those penalties being offsetting, still first down and 10. Another life injected for North Putnam's offense. As they don't go backwards, they just repeat the first down call, looking to see if they can do better than what they did the first time. That's Caden Hankins in the backfield, lead blocking for Wes Murphy. That's been working well and efficient tonight. Gain of 7 yards for Wes Murphy.
Yeah, you can see the line of scrimmage keeps moving toward Frankfort.
Gavin Payne, the center, being a key piece to this offensive line, doing a nice job carving the way for Owen Thurman. Gets him all the way down to the 5-yard line. All that the North Putnam Cougars have done on this drive is get back to the basics and running the football.
Yeah, they've had success running up the middle.
Another run up the middle. What I thought was to the 5-yard line was just under the 10. And that first down run there by Owen Thurman gets him just to around the 5-yard line, approaching scoring position once again, trying to get their 5th touchdown of the day offensively if you're the Cougars. 2 receivers out to the left, Wes Murphy to his right, probes the defense, trying to see what he can get, gets twisted around just a little bit, and he will be just marked short before that goal line. So another try coming for North Putnam, trying to get another touchdown.
There wasn't much there, but that young man read the hole and kept maneuvering and slid down to the 1-yard line.
Thurman takes the snap. Easy give off to Wes Murphy, and Wes Murphy gets in again for his 3rd touchdown of the night.
Yeah, Wes Murphy is having a nice game. That'll make the bus ride back to North Putnam. Very good for him.
Doing an outstanding job. 3 touchdowns on the night, 2 rushing and 1 receiving. Everything that they've done offensively has started with him, and they started this second half with a frenzy of plays, getting right down in the scoring position, and Braden Chu has come on again, trying to capitalize on another extra point. Got the defense to jump off sides once again, something we saw in the first half with North Putnam's first extra point attempt. And just after they elected to go for 2, didn't get it. That explains the funky score of 29 instead of 28, being even with 4 extra points after 4 touchdowns. But not electing to do the same here, keeping Braden Chu out there, potentially even maybe trying to build his confidence, seeing some go out of bounds when he's done the kickoff duties here. That's Owen Thurman holding for him. Snap is good, hold is good, kick is good.
That was a nice kick. Right through the middle, good snap, good hold, and I tell you, the kid has a strong leg, so it's interesting why they continue to try to kick the ball out of bounds. And they've done it 3 times in a row at the very same spot. He's very accurate. I mean, if he was at the state fair, he'd have won 3 bunnies. I can just tell you that.
We'll wait for just a second to see if he gets any more bunnies as we step away for a quick second. Back for more as North Putnam up 36-12 over the Frankfurt Hot Dogs.
We've all heard the question, if a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Honestly, we're not sure either. But what we do know is that if it falls in your yard, it usually leaves behind an unsightly stump that you'll be stuck mowing around. At JXN Stump Solutions, we'll get rid of that stump for good, and here's the best part. We offer free estimates, so you'll know the cost before the work begins. We deliver quality work from a professional, locally owned company with a commitment to leaving your property cleaner, safer, and stump-free. Contact us today at 242-9523. At JXN Stump Solutions, we're rooted in service and driven to remove.
Back here on homecoming night for the Frankfurt Hot Dogs, and they have a healthy deficit right now as they're trying to claw back into this one, down 24 right now, 7:25 to go in this third quarter. North Putnam didn't get the opening kickoff of this second half. Defense stood strong. Offense got it back, drove right down and scored. And now kicking it back to Frankfurt, seeing if their defense can now stand another test, getting a second stop in as many drives. Braden Chu electing for the squib right down the middle, bounces off a Frankfurt player, but they're able to jump on it. And that was Broderick Kinsey, son of Justin Kinsey, doing a nice job, although bouncing it off of his leg, jumps on it, recovers it, allows his offense to trot out feeling confident, taking the ball back over just about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, it's interesting watching that young man kick off, if that's the same one that did the extra point, because that extra point was a very healthy kick for an extra point in high school.
Makes you wonder why they're not electing to kick it deep when they go kickoff.
Yeah.
Kiefer Dooley takes the snap, tries to get the ball down the field with his arm. Nothing there, getting pressure. Elects to take off. Some extracurriculars warranting some flags coming out as the play was already blown dead, but Guy still driving him down to the ground. And this will be a welcome sight for the Frankfurt Hot Dogs, although not so much as they see Kiefer Dooley down in some agony, someone that was already hobbled, his health in question as they got ready for this one. Coach Justin Kinsey talked about doing IT differently, but making it simple. Abstract Technology Group does exactly that. Whether you're located in Indianapolis, Lafayette, or all points surrounding and in between, call 765-420-TECH or visit abstracttechgroup.com. We're Abstract, making it simple. One thing that Coach Kinsey said about Kiefer Dooley was that he is healthy and will play. So that just gave an indication into us that he was not all the way 100% there in the health department. And as you can even see him trotting in and out from the sideline into the huddle, a bit hobbled. And this time it looked like he took another big hit. Hopefully the quarterback for the Hot Dogs is okay.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the young man, unfortunately he's hurt, but he took it on an unsportsmanlike play by North Putnam. It was after the whistle, almost a WWE takedown, and that's tough as fortunately he's walking off under his own power. but you can tell him looking back at the other team and not a happy camper. But I'm guessing, looking at the way this kid, his attitude, his posture, he'll be back in the ball game.
Nothing but fight from this group of Frankfort Hot Dogs looking for their first win this season, and truthfully their first win in almost 3 seasons. This is a team that's fighting and scratching and clawing for every little bit that they can get, and so far it's been a welcome sight tonight, maybe even an indication into the future for what this Hot Dogs team has underneath Coach Justin Kinsey, first-year head coach, as his team takes over just shy of the 50-yard line, looking to do better than they did on their first drive to go get points to open up this second half. And now we have Dennis Barkley underneath that quarterback, someone that is described as a great option quarterback, and on the first one does the easy thing, the fail-safe that's always there in the triple option, and just hands off the fullback dive to James Lozano.
Yeah, and that's been tough sledding all night. Especially with the offensive line packed in like that. I know I sound like a broken record here, but if you look at the size of the North Putnam defensive line, their linebackers that are packed up in there, both inside linebackers, it's making it tough to get any yardage.
Once again, Dennis Barkley is a capable passer, someone that played the quarterback position a year ago, now taking over as Kiefer Dooley went out with an injury. This is the best attribute of Barkley, and actually fakes the dive and does the end around, takes matters into his own hands on second down, just shy of the first down by a yard, has this offense what looks to be humming so far on this next drive that they have right here in front of us.
He's got some quick feet. The triple option with him, his feet are a little quicker than the young man that was in the position earlier in the evening, and we'll see if he can pick up the yard to keep the drive going. But this is 4-down territory.
Dennis Barkley takes the snap once again, gets the dive to Dennis Jaycox. I stand corrected. That was Broderick Kinsey who took the fullback dive on that one, just shy for no gain. 4th and 1 coming up. The last time that Frankfort was in a 4th and 1 position, it was Dennis Barkley at the quarterback position, and they were actually stopped for a turnover on downs. What do they have to do differently here?
They can't run in the middle. They got to go outside. They have to do a little misdirection, but they just can't run up the middle again.
We'll see what they have in store on this 4th down attempt. Guy goes in motion, tries to get to the outside, and it all just depends on the spot, and it looks like they do have the line to gain. First down, Jackson Roby, the young man who got the personal foul in the first half, redeems himself with a big 4th down conversion here in the second half.
Yeah, he battled on that. There was not much there, and they didn't even do a measurement. They gave the ball to North Putnam. One referee signaled first down.
The referee furthest away from us looked to give them the line to gain, but another referee saw it differently.
Yeah, and what's interesting is they did not even bring out the chains.
Turnover on downs, another stop by this North Putnam offense. Has to feel like a gut punch to this Frankfort Hot Dog bunch that in 2 drives in the second half, nothing to show for it. Go back on defense. Wes Murphy gets the football again, makes a guy miss, and it looks like he's trying to run away from everyone else. That's another big gain going on the plus side of the 50, getting into scoring position once again.
And North Putnam is keeping their foot on the gas as they continue to go in the hurry-up offense. Frankfort's not quite set.
Is it JXN Solutions? North Putnam looked to score again. It's simple when they continue to give the ball to Wes Murphy. Tired of unsightly tree stumps ruining your yard? Let us take care of it. We've got the equipment and experience to get the job done right. We offer 3 tiers of service that will rejuvenate your yard, all at competitive, budget-friendly rates. Call 765-242-9523 today for a free estimate. JXN Stump Solutions, rooted in service, driven to remove.
Yeah, I think Frankfurt's defense was caught off guard when the referee changed his mind and went from first down to Frankfurt to North Putnam, and now North Putnam has a good drive going here, 3 or 4 plays, and they're about ready to go in the end zone again.
Wes Murphy has gotten a large lump sum of the workload tonight, and there he meets James Lozano right there in the hole. As you can see, Lozano coming in, laying some heavy lumber there in the middle of the defense.
Lozano's had a great game at fullback, at linebacker.
A key player that was highlighted by Coach Bob Meslem at the beginning of the broadcast has held true for the entirety of this one. And we see Owen Thurman again going off the left side, trying to contort his body for more yards. Gets just enough underneath the 5-yard line. 1st and goal coming up for the Cougars.
This is the longest they've taken to snap the ball in this drive.
Could potentially be some insight into what they feel as them taking control of the game, but the snap was botched, and Owen Thurman doing the right thing, just jumping on it before any other Frankfurt hot dog could approach.
You know what? They've been in the shotgun all night, and that's the first mishap on a snap they've had, and we only have a couple minutes to go in the third quarter. So kudos to the center and the quarterback for being on the same page for the snap.
Rare mistake for center Gavin Payne, the senior, 5'10", 300 pounds, was described as most improved lineman last season, was looking to be the centerpiece for this offensive line. There, just a mishap from him, looking to get it back on the next play. And Thurman breaks contain once again, gets out to the perimeter, but not before he could be brought down by Quincy Allen, the junior.
He's a strong runner.
Talked about Owen Thurman and what he's done. Only 2nd game playing quarterback. Before that was a running back, a receiver, a defensive back as well, for what he was able to do on defense. 10 catches, 86 yards as a running back and a receiver. When this time being a quarterback, getting the Frankfurt defense to jump off sides to go get some more free yards as they continue to approach the goal line.
Yeah, and he's only a sophomore. So, he's filling in for, Christian, who is a junior, but this young Owen is only a sophomore.
Gets it over to Chase Barber. And touchdown again for the North Putnam Cougars. 2 drives in the second half, 2 touchdowns, all being led by sophomore quarterback Owen Thurman.
Yeah, that was a pretty efficient drive. They got the ball on downs at maybe their own 40-yard line, and, within 3 or 4 minutes they were able to go down and convert to a touchdown, and now we're looking at, 42, possibly 43 points for. And you know what? They average 36 points a game, so they're a little ahead of their average.
Doing a nice job. That is North Putnam. Every time they've gotten into extra point position, it's been the snap count that has gotten Frankfurt to jump off sides each and every time. As you see, that penalty declined. Coach Scott Moore electing to keep his field goal unit on the field in the same position. 4th season as head coach. Coach Scott Moore is the 4th head coach for North Putnam since 2016, so trying to be a centerpiece of stability for the Cougars and doing a nice job here tonight, leading them to victory thus far. A miscommunication on the penalty. The ball was already moved up as if the penalty was accepted, but it was declined. Have to move it back to its original position on the 3-yard line. And the extra point coming and got them to jump once again. It's very simple when you're on the defensive side of the ball. You just have to look at the football because that's the cue for when you can approach in whatever your responsibilities are. But so far that has not gotten through to the Frankfurt Hot Dogs.
I think they keep delaying it so the holder can stay on the 10-yard line. That's an easy mark for a holder and the kicker as well as the snapper.
So we try it again for the 3rd time. This time snap is good. And the kick just skates across and under the crossbar, but a penalty on the play
Roughing the kicker.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker. The try was no good. Still waiting for official word. This should be either a re-kick or the offense can trot out on the field and try for 2 points.
So this is the fourth attempt. We've had 2 offsides, a running into the kicker, and now they're going to accept the penalty, which is half the distance to the yard line, half the distance to the goal line,
And why not trot your offense back out on the field? You've gotten multiple chances to potentially go for 2 points, elected to not do that. And on the 4th time, why not give it a try? Owen Thurman under center, Gavin Payne being the center. That's Caden Hankins being the fullback, gets the football and is across for the 2-point conversion. Caden Hankins, the former running back converted linebacker, gets in for the 2-point try.
that was a long extra point, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. More than I'm sure a lot of people would have liked. Tonight's game is brought to you by the Frankfurt Eagles Post 976. Serving our community since 1905 with over 900 members locally, the Frankfurt Eagles offers something for everyone. For more information on who they are and what they do, please visit FOE.com or stop by 408 North Main Street in Frankfurt.
Well, we'll see if Frankfurt has a response here. In the first half, they battled back after a couple touchdowns by North Putnam. They did not seem to come out with the same amount of energy in the second half as they did as they left the field with that energy level in the first half. And maybe it was the homecoming, maybe it was the band, maybe it was the festivities, but that 20 minutes, then you get the extra 3 minutes. I mean, it's almost like a Super Bowl halftime now with all the stuff they got going on.
It's the saying that I hear right now as I'm listening to you speak, Coach, and that's to go somewhere you've never been, you have to do something you've never done. And for this team, they haven't won a game, so when you have success in the first half, you're going somewhere that you've never been, which calls for you to do something you've never done, which is continue to execute in the second half. So far, not a passing grade for the Hot Dogs, but still time to ratify that effort. Braden Chu elects to kick off a normal style type of kickoff, gets it to Deron Barkley. Barkley takes it, had the big special teams return in the first half, trying to do it again here in the second. Gets stymied at the 37-yard line, but keeps his feet going and gets up to the 39.
Well, it was fun seeing the kicker kick off.
For the first time.
Yeah, and I don't think he put his full leg into it. The kid has a strong leg, and I just want to see him, as a former punt, pass, and kick participant, I want to see the kid kick.
So if you got out there and did a kickoff, where do you think that ball would land?
Oh, my gosh. I'd be onside.
Going for the 10-yard attempt.
Yes.
I understand. Kiefer Dooley, who went down with an injury earlier in this quarter, now back out at the quarterback position. Dennis Barkley stepped in for him on the previous drive, but now Dooley is back in.
Tough lad.
Gets everyone hurried up and set in position. But just as I had thought, he did not get everyone set. It was the receiver out wide that was still moving as they sent the first guy in motion, and they'll get you every single time. And that was Maddox Thomas, who wasn't set. Actually, Maddox being someone that Coach Kinsey talked about potentially who could play quarterback. Haven't seen him at that position yet. At receiver, he's the guy that gets called for the penalty.
Well, it's almost send him a thank you note because now it's 1st and 15. Had he not been in motion, it'd be second and about 18. So, maybe they didn't thank that young man.
1st and 15 coming up for the Hot Dogs, trying to get something going in this second half, which they have not been able to do. Man goes in motion, trying to find a receiver. And no one down the field besides offensive tackle Jaden Boggs, who is not an eligible receiver to catch the football. And now they got a roughing the passer on Kiefer Dooley, who's taking a beating here in this third quarter.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't call illegal man downfield, but they hit the head of the quarterback, and this young man's taking a beating tonight.
And time again, he just continues to respond. Has to be a welcome sight for all those watching. The senior, 6'1", 185 pounds, doing a nice job just battling through all of the adversity. Personally, tonight, still leading his team, trying to go find some points in this second half.
Maybe the discussion, they finally realized there was somebody downfield.
So they have to tack on the 5-yard penalty for the illegal man downfield, and because of the dead ball penalty coming after the ball was already released, they take the minus 5-yard spot, add 15 onto it, and now we have the first down, and Funky looks to be 5 yards to go.
Yeah, and interesting enough, the only guy downfield was the tackle. Oh.
Still some discussion being had about what down is it.
Should be automatic first down, shouldn't it?
But because of the illegal man downfield taking place before the dead ball foul, it actually puts them at 2nd and 5 instead of a first down territory. So a manageable second down here for Kiefer Dooley. Barkley moves in just a little bit. Dooley trying to find his guy down the field. That was Quincy Allen, but not able to connect. Too much pressure getting to Dooley.
Well, they hit the quarterback after the fact, and then the quarterback retaliated, so I got to think this is going to go on Frankfurt. But they hit the quarterback while he was down on the ground.
As much as we've talked about penalties on both sides, there have been a lot of flags down on the field in this second half. Just constantly seeing penalty flags being thrown, but that one actually is picked up by the official. 3rd and 5 coming up for the Hot Dogs.
Yeah, they've continued to hit the quarterback all night, and the kid's gotten up every time.
Dooley fakes the dive, tries to go forward and get as much as he can, but just short on that 3rd down, and here comes another penalty flag as there's a scuffle between Danny Jaycox and defensive lineman Beckett Brager.
They're going to be offsetting.
As you see there, 2 offsetting penalties, personal fouls, unsportsmanlike conduct by both guys. That being Danny Jaycox for the Hot Dogs and then Beckett Brager for the North Putnam Cougars. And whatever happened, Jaycox was not happy as he stormed off the sideline and went to the bench area.
I think the first one was a personal foul, and then the retaliation might have been a taunting. But that's just a guess. I didn't know that referees carried 2 flags. Did you know that?
One on each side, just in case. You have to throw 2 flags on one play.
You know what? I've been doing this football a lot. I didn't know referees carried 2 flags. Wow.
Frankfurt Hot Dogs in the huddle, down 32 points right now to the North Putnam Cougars. And Coach Kinsey elects to call timeout, wanting to get a better feel for what his attack is going to be offensively in what is going to be a pivotal point in the game right now where it seems like this game is getting a bit out of hand. What's the advice that he's given his group in that huddle?
Well, I think they have to keep their emotions in check. You know, both teams here in this quarter have had their share of unsportsmanlike penalties, and we've had a lot of big penalties tonight, whether it's been holding, unsportsmanlike conduct, roughing the passer, roughing the kicker. And I know it's a competitive game and it's a hard-hitting game, but at some point you have to understand that your actions are going to be penalized, and it's not about you. It's about the team, and you put your team in some tough situations tonight. Both teams have.
Always about the team, and so far in the past few minutes of real time, the clock hasn't moved that much because there's been some selfishness on both parts of both teams.
Well, they teach you early on the we over me.
That's exactly right. It's always the we over me. It's always something bigger than yourself. And now it's the test of the Frankfort Hot Dogs to go out and see if they can convert on this fourth down. They've been hobbled a bit with injuries coming into the game. They've battled through it, scored 2 touchdowns, almost doubling their scoring output for this season. 8 points before the start of this game, now going to the end of this quarter at 12, putting them at 20 for the season and still looking for more. Here we go, Kiefer Dooley fumbles the snap from center. And Wes Murphy comes up with the football looking for why the officials blew it dead, but nonetheless a turnover on downs by this North Putnam defense, doing a nice job once again defensively.
Yeah, that was tough to come out of a timeout and have a malfunction on the snap.
As much explosion as we saw and fireworks from the Frankfort offense in the first half, they have not crossed the 50 in this second half and even threatened to score. This has to be a credit to North Putnam and how they've attacked mentally and physically in this second half. But Owen Thurman sends Wes Murphy into motion again, fakes the pass to Wes Murphy, finds his receiver Chase Barber down the field, and that's going to be a 47-yard touchdown. Another one. Cougars strike again.
Yeah, Frankfort just looks a little bit deflated after the halftime, and that's the first long pass they've completed tonight, and I think they were expecting run the ball, and kudos to North Putnam for putting it up and found a receiver, and the quarterback threw a great pass, hit him in stride, and what'd you say, 53 yards?
47 yards. Going all the way to the end zone. That's Chase Barber doing an outstanding job at the receiver position tonight. Before the game, 21 catches, 226 receiving yards, and a touchdown. He can add another receiving touchdown to that total. And Thurman gets the hold down, and that's Braden Chu connecting on another extra point. So a turn of events in this second half. What was 29-12 at the beginning of this second half has now ballooned 22 unanswered points from the North Putnam Cougars, and it's leaving the Frankfort Hot Dogs lifeless on their sideline.
Yeah, it's been quite the turn of events, and I think what really turned the tide was the fourth down conversion 2 or 3 possessions ago, where one referee signaled first down for Frankfort. The other referee signaled no first down, turnover and downs, first down the other way, and they didn't bring out the sticks. And from that point on, Frankfort has not had much energy.
Not much life to give in this second half thus far. It felt like everyone was riding the mile-high feeling of seeing a lot of progress in that first half, but not so much luck in this second half. It's been a rough half so far for the Frankfort. It's been the tale of 2 games for them, doing an outstanding job. Maybe have to find a way to keep that energy up. Homecoming, I'm sure, doesn't help with all of the festivities going on at halftime. What can you do as a coach to help eliminate some of those distractions?
Well, they've made a lot of mistakes in the third quarter, and hopefully here in the last 24 seconds in the fourth quarter they can minimize or eliminate some of those errors, and some of them have been physical and some have been mental.
Here's Barkley fielding the squib kick down at the 30-yard line, and the Hot Dogs come back on to the field offensively. And those that don't know, once that lead surpasses the 35-point mark in advantage of one team or another, we then go to a running clock. So that running clock has already been initiated, and that will take us into our final break of this quarter as we head into the fourth quarter and see what can happen in fourth quarter action between the Hot Dogs and the Cougars.
Running a small business. Your hands are full. We can help. FiberHawk partners with local companies by providing business-class internet, phone, TV, and customized bundles to meet your needs. Our fiber-powered system delivers reliable speed with enhanced security. Running a business is tough. Contact FiberHawk today and let our expert team give you a hand.
At Laser Edge Turf and Excavation, we take pride in keeping your property looking its best and your projects moving forward. From expert commercial and residential mowing to lawn fertilization that keeps your grass healthy year-round, we've got your yard covered. Need more than lawn care? We also specialize in directional boring, trenching, and full excavation work. Whether it's maintaining your curb appeal or tackling big jobs underground, trust Laser Edge and Excavation to get the job done right. Let us tackle your next project. Give us a call at 670-2286.
It's been the tale of two halves. The first half provided so much promise for the community of Frankfort. Excited about what this team presented in the first half, scoring double the amount of points they have all season in one single half, and then things turned quickly. 22 unanswered points by North Putnam in that third quarter alone, and now the Hot Dogs offensively trying to get that momentum back that they found a groove in that first half. What do they need to do in this fourth quarter to at least have a positive taste in their mouth once this goes final?
Well, it's almost as if somebody poked a balloon at halftime and let the air out, and you can see in the Frankfurt players on the field, on the sideline, and unfortunately in the stands as well. But they need to get a couple of first downs here, a couple conversions, keep playing till the end of the game, because they had a really, really impressive first half, especially given how they've played the first 6 games. And, hopefully they can get a little bit of success here in the fourth quarter so they have some pleasant memories of the evening.
It feels, even as we watch Kiefer Dooley continue to control the offense, and that's no longer Kiefer Dooley, that's Maddox Thomas at the quarterback position, as we talked about earlier in the game, someone that Coach Justin Kinsey said could take over the quarterback position. Said he's been their most effective option at quarterback despite never playing quarterback before week 2. So looking to go to a younger guy, the junior, standing at 5'9", 145 pounds for the rest of this game, maybe could potentially provide some life for this Hot Dog offense?
Yeah. Hopefully he has a couple good plays under his belt and linemen block for him, and they can pick up a couple first downs and generate some positive yardage.
We got a timeout by North Putnam. Tonight's game is brought to you by Day and Ginda Funeral Home, with locations in Frankfort, Flora, Mulberry, and Rossville. The compassionate and experienced staff at Day and Ginda Funeral Home are dedicated to providing a loving and genuine environment for you to honor your loved one. For more information on our services and community involvement, please visit dayandginda.com. Day and Ginda Funeral Homes, where we put family first.
Yeah, Coach Moore must have seen something, because he's using this timeout to coach his defense. And, you're up 51-12, and it looks like his first team is still in there. There's a couple clean jerseys, but he is using that timeout to coach up these youngsters. And
it helps when your head coach, Scott Moore, is the son of a coach, Brian Moore, Park Heritage head coach that won a state title at Seeger in 2004. Does a nice job for this bunch at North Putnam, trying to get his team out of sectional, something that's just around the corner, for the first time since 2010 when they lost to Fort Wayne Bishop Luers in state. So now with Coach Scott Moore at the head coach position, continuing to coach his bunch, even though they have this one in their full grasp.
Yeah, and you talk about the tournament, the last sectional win for North Putnam, winning a game in the sectional, was 2020. The last sectional win for Frankfort was in 2013. So with the sectionals coming up in a couple, 3 weeks, and hopefully these teams are getting some things established that they can take from the last 2 or 3 weeks of the season and move in the tournament and advance, because yourself, a little bit of tournament success goes a long way to put behind you a difficult season.
And that shows you exactly why you could feel all of the energy that was starting to be created here with Frankfort, because when you've been abysmal for so long, the community is looking for something to hang their hat on, and they thought they had it in the first half. And I would say I feel like they still do. Not all change happens overnight. Sometimes you just see small glimpses. That's the process and the steps that you talked about, and that's Coach Bob Maslam here on the broadcast call. I'm Jared Thomas. So what else do they have to do mentally to stay in tune with the progress that they had in that first half as they go out in the rest of the season and on to the coming years?
Well, if I'm the coach, I'm showing first half film. I'm saying, guys, look how we played. Look what we did well. Look how we competed. Look how we converted. Look how we did these things. So I'm showing first half film and talking about the positives that we garnered from this game.
And that's Owen Thurman actually back on the punt return, takes it, matters into his own hands, shows a flurry of athleticism, and gets down inside the 20. So even though the game looked like it was decided, Owen Thurman says, not so fast. Let me continue to contribute in my normal duties as a punt returner, doing a nice job, getting it down, catching the Frankfort special teams unit sleeping.
And you can look at Frankfort, they're obviously tired. The defense been out there a lot. And when you get tired, you put your hands on your hips. And it's been a tough second half for Frankfort.
Not too much that the Hot Dogs have done well, but maybe even more so a credit to North Putnam and how they've attacked in this second half. They have taken more of a authoritative stance in this second half, and it continues. That's running back Kyler Hankins, the 5'8" senior, getting his opportunity to carry the football, gets it down under the 5-yard line for a nice gain on first down to get it into first and goal territory.
Yeah, that was a nice hole off the right tackle, and the linemen for North Putnam have done a phenomenal job of moving Frankfort off the ball, and they've been able to run inside, off tackle, around the end, and as we talked about throughout the game, the line of scrimmage has been won by North Putnam convincingly throughout the entire game.
Beckett Brager, another offensive lineman, left tackle on that offensive line. They're also without Braxton Woodall, who was a standout a year ago, now playing for the Marion University Knights down in Indianapolis. And that's Kyler Hankins again from the 3-yard line, trying to get in for the touchdown, and he does. Another score as the flurry continues from the Cougars here at Frankfort High School football field. North Putnam in control for most of this second half. It's been all them. That now gets them to up to 28 unanswered points in this second half. It's been nothing from Frankfort, and it's been all North Putnam. An outstanding job by the Cougars, just taking this thing by the horns, being in full control. Botch snap as Braden Chu jumps on it, just looking to get out of bounds and minimize the damage. Does a nice job getting out just past the 20-yard line and out of bounds to the 16. No flag on the play, but we'll step aside for just a moment, returning for more action from here. The North Putnam Cougars against the Frankfort Hot Dogs. Been the same song here in this second half. Another touchdown by the North Putnam Cougars. It'd be an understatement to say they've taken full control in this one, and very little response from the Hot Dogs of Frankfort here on homecoming night. Just really no answer, Coach.
No, the second half for Frankfort has been tough, and these kids are resilient. They'll respond. Hopefully they have a good week of practice and come out next Friday night. But they need to feel good about the first half they played, and North Putnam needs to feel good how they responded in the second half. It was a close ball game there for a little bit toward the middle of the second quarter, and then North Putnam decided, we're going to take charge, and it's been a freight train that has left the station, and, it's going downhill.
Downhill is exactly right. Not much of a response or answer from Frankfort. You hear a little bit of life on that kickoff return by Quincy Allen as he fielded that one, trying to make something happen. But the biggest storyline of this second half has been the inability of Frankfort to even pass the 50-yard line to even approach a touchdown, something they have not been able to do, but still more game to be played. And why not get it started on the first play from scrimmage? And that's running back 45. It looked like 15 from my vantage point, but that's Danny Jaycox. Got into it just a few possessions ago with Beckett Brager, defensive lineman from North Putnam, but Jaycox has gotten himself under control and gives them a nice positive gain on first down.
That was one of the better runs up the middle they've had all night. But you can see there's a few clean jerseys on the field for North Putnam, and so coach is getting some people in to get some playing time. And
Healthy Communities of Clinton County Coalition understands the important role healthcare coverage plays, pun intended, for athletes and their families. We partner with CKF to provide free expert assistance to enroll, use, and maintain affordable coverage. Our certified navigators are available to set, pun intended, for uninsured Hoosiers as a trusted teammate, pun intended. Call 1-888-975-4CKF and tell us the county where you live or work. Another carry there by Jackson Roby, trying to find something on this offensive drive as they approach the 50, and they mark it as a first down, the first one of the half for Frankfort, and now another chance and opportunity to cross the 50, which is something they haven't done, as we already talked about so far.
You know what? He has done a nice job. He's ran the ball a couple times. He's done a nice job. Number 45 has done a nice job, but you can see the size difference now in the North Putnam line with their reserves in, how much smaller it is.
That's Maddox Thomas at the quarterback position, tries to take advantage of the quarterback sneak. Doesn't fool the defense. That was defensive lineman Jason Carden, but may have gotten a face mask on his attempt to bring Thomas down on the tackle attempt. So if that call stands, it will be a first down plus 15 yards.
I think we have unsportsmanlike conduct on Frankfort because they didn't get the face mask call.
I stand corrected.
No, that's what happened. Kind of interesting. You saw the face mask, and the kid felt the face mask, and the referee saw the upsetness that he didn't get the face mask.
As many flags that have hit the ground tonight, not there on an obvious one, but you bounce back on play number 2, and that's James Lozano throws a stiffy with his left arm via a stiff arm. Does a nice job on the first down run, although backed up a mile, still does a nice job getting some positive yards.
That young man has had a great game. He's made some great tackles on defense, and he's running the ball. And
attention all engaged couples, discover why the Willow Creek Barn has been voted the Knott's Best of Weddings for 4 years in a row. Nestled just outside Frankfort, Indiana, our venue offers stunning indoor and outdoor ceremony options with breathtaking photo opportunities. We provide the perfect backdrop for your dream barn wedding. To start planning your unforgettable day, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
Yeah, a little misdirection there, and North Putnam was sitting there waiting for it, and I imagine, even though there's only, a couple minutes plus, they're gonna punt the ball.
Still playing smart football, even though the game is decided, down 45 points right now. Justin Kinsey, head coach of the Frankfort Hot Dogs, electing to punt in what has been the best drive offensively in this second half, but started to go backwards just after the positivity started to show, and elected to punt with Logan Light sending it down just inside the 25-yard line and down at the 24.
You know, for a game that's 57-12 in the fourth quarter, it's been chippy.
Yes, it has. Emotions have been all over.
Chippy, and you know, that's some of the fight that you know, hopefully the Frankfurt coach is looking for. It's not always been within the bounds of the game, but you know what, you got to start somewhere. And you know, North Putnam hasn't backed down. They've had their fair share of 15-yarders. So for a 57-12 game, it's been chippy.
And a lot at stake tonight with it being homecoming. Reputations are on the line. Maybe some added participation via fans in the stands that aren't normally here. So got to make sure you look good despite what the scoreboard says. And here is a new quarterback change in there. That is number 15, Sam Went, wide receiver and defensive back, stepping in at the quarterback position.
He's a freshman. Good for him for getting a couple snaps in tonight.
Let us be the first to welcome you to the Fiberhood. Mintel Fiber Optic Services offers superfast, reliable internet with gigabit speeds, streaming TV packages, and voice solutions. Sign up today at www.mintel.net or call 765-296-2885 for more information.
Well, Sam Wynn has some size. He's 6'1", 180, and I don't know if he's a freshman or sophomore, but you know, good for him for getting a snap or two.
And this looks to be, as Sam Went is back at the quarterback position, the last play of the game. Elects to just do a simple handoff to Tristan Claycomb, and that will be all that she wrote here in Frankfort, Indiana. North Putnam does a nice job taking control in the second half, goes on to be victors against the Frankfort Hot Dogs 57-12, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a moment's notice to wrap up this one with our final post-game report.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grounds, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
Welcome to Trinity Hope Center. Here we are actively engaged in our recovery community with a multitude of activities including peer recovery coaching, a full computer lab, grief groups, relapse prevention, pre- and postnatal support group, educational workshops for family members with addicted loved ones, expungent workshops, parent cafes, Saturday pro-social activities, recovery walk club, book club, and even video game nights. For more information, give us a call at 765-250-1845.
And we're back here in Frankfort, Indiana for the post-game show presented to you by the Willow Creek Barn, where nature's beauty meets rustic elegance. Coach, this went final 57-12 North Putnam. What did you see? What did you like?
Well, North Putnam had a fast start, and then Frankfort battled back and had a really good first half, especially given how they'd played the first 6 games of the year. And then coming out the second half, North Putnam showed why they're averaging 37 points a game and just continued to play hard, put some points on the board. And it seemed like when Franklin went in at the half, I don't know what happened. They got a little deflated, and they didn't have the same intensity in the third and fourth quarter as they had in the second quarter. But, you know, they've only scored 8 points coming into tonight's game. They scored 12 tonight, so something good for them to build on. I think Coach Kinsey, you know, might be headed in the right direction. But like I said earlier, you got to learn to play, then you got to learn to compete and learn how to win. I think tonight they were between playing and competing.
And just like every game, have to have a player of the game. Brought to you by the Frankfort Eagles. Who did you like in tonight's player of the game nomination?
Well, I think for Frankfort, Lozano had a great game.
James Lozano.
Yeah, he excuse me, as a linebacker, he made a lot of stops. You can see here on the highlight he had a nice run toward the end of the game. But, you know, the kid played hard all night. Had a lot of tackles, had some for loss, and you look for your defender to be able to take on people like that and make the tackles, get the defense in the right position, and continue to compete. And even though they were down 40, 50 points, that kid competed all night, so congratulations to him.
And Coach Bob, he made you look good. That was one of your key players of the game, was James Lozano, so I'm sure he appreciated the love and made you look good with his performance tonight. Coach, it was an honor to do this game with you. You have to do it sometime again soon. Tonight's game was brought to you in parts by Abstract Technology Group, doing IT differently, making it simple. Day and Ginda Funeral Home, putting family first. Fiberhawk, fast, affordable. Fiberhawk, healthy communities of Clinton County, making the healthy choice the easy choice. The Frankfurt Eagles Post 976, people helping people. And the Willow Creek Barn, providing a picturesque setting for the barn wedding of your dreams. My name is Jared Thomas. That is Coach Bob Maslam. That was brought to you by the Hot Dog Network with ISC Sports Network, Lucas Rushton, Guillermo Mariano, Navarrete, Colin Miller, Ethan Gephardt, and the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Salih. That is all we have for you tonight. So long, my friends.